going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ. I'm DJ.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, listen. I'm Diggins. Welcome to the podcast. You know, making the podcast was like so great to make the podcast with these guys, and I'm glad. I'm excited about the podcast, and I'm glad you're all here to listen to it.
And this is mostly nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo!
Wahoo!
Yeah, so it was just like such a great, it was amazing.
I bet I can find that because we haven't seen that yet. But it's pretty good. When Jason Momoa very sadly kind of talks about it before people saw it.
Is this the first time we've ever referenced something not in the movie itself, but like extracurricular activities?
Absolutely not.
On?
We reference extracurricular activities constantly.
I mean, we definitely we referenced that time that the Star Wars movie was in Fortnite, which wasn't in the movie.
That's right. You know? That's a good point. It was
fully, extracurricular activities. So
that's a very good point.
Yeah. I will say, like, this movie has so much context outside of it by being the last DC movie that I do think it's hard to take on its face, but also, I mean, we'll talk about it. But this is the first week in 3 weeks where we've had both co-hosts, or all three co-hosts, I guess, but both of you who have been out are both here. So, isn't that something?
We did it.
We did it.
It's awesome. Good for us.
And
hey, look at us.
Look at us. Yeah, look at us.
Yeah. And then we got Aquaman this week, the big movie of the week, presumably.
Yeah, the movie everyone's talking about.
Yep. The highest grossing movie of the week, technically.
Is it?
I think. I do think so, but not by much and not nearly. I think this was one of the lower Christmas weeks of like history, adjusted for like inflation, but like because you had Wonka, you had that migration movie that flopped, you had something else that flopped, a Ferrari movie or whatever, but like there was not a whole lot that people were seeing, so this was able to win the week, but like not by much. But who knows, maybe after this podcast the people will want to see Aquaman 2 The Lost Kingdom, maybe
after we give our glowing reviews.
Yeah. And I don't know this for a fact, but I have a feeling this will be on HBO Max in like a matter of hours. Like it just seems like the kind of thing that they are going to dump to streaming almost immediately.
As you, the listener, are listening, it's like, oh, it's on Max already. If we did it, it's
actually
here.
I just got an alert. It's on Max right now.
That's
my God. I actually got an alert that it's been on Max for the last 2 years. Yeah, nobody watched it, but it was there. Everybody watched that and said, Batgirl, you guys. Just imagine the Looney Tunes are in this, because no more Looney Tunes on Max as of like, I think tomorrow or the next day. I guess no more Looney Tunes. No more Looney Tunes back in action starring Brendan Fraser. That one is leaving, which is a real shame.
Okay. And
no more Entourage movie. That left earlier in the month. So cancel your subscriptions, everybody. Speaking of subscriptions to stuff, I have news this week. Very exciting news.
Ooh.
I'm going to put it in the chat so you can see it.
I love exciting
It's a
news.
tweet. I mean, it's not a tweet, but it has a tweet. Is referenced in a tweet. I don't know if you've seen Rebel Moon. Now,
before I click on this link, Nando, can we just do a quick check? We're recording this podcast right now?
We 100% are. It says stop as an option. And there's little numbers and a little red square. So
all right. I don't want to deprive the people of my authentic reaction.
Oh, right. 100%.
And of course, you guys failed to mention this last week, but I was actually on that first hour. But then, my takes were so bad, you guys decided that, no, I just couldn't be on anymore. So,
DJ, what a ridiculous thing to say. If that was ever a thing that could happen, you wouldn't be on any of these episodes.
That's a great point.
Yeah, there would be a really nice and short podcast where me and Diggins agree that Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes was okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the news, this is about Rebel Moon, the big movie of the week, you guys. So I swear, and I've seen half of this movie, so I do know it starts like this. A spaceship comes out of a portal, but the portal looks a lot like a vagina. And according to Zack Snyder himself, it is 100% correct. that I guess it's not inspired by vaginas. It is just a coincidence.
Which is the first sentence of this thing he sent us, which is why I just fucking lost it.
But like, if you look at it, you're like, I think it is. So
I'm looking at it, and it's a hard sell that it's not.
Yeah,
boy,
I don't think
even the way it kind of opens is a little like.
All right, okay. Listen, this is an allegedly what do you call it? PG-13 podcast, so let's not be too graphic, gentlemen.
Yeah, this isn't the 4-hour extended version with lots of sex and violence that'll come out.
Yeah,
later
where we
year.
CGI in the blood whenever anyone gets hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not describing what it looks like. I'm just looking at this GIF on this news thing Nando sent us, and I'm like, I could see it.
I think even if you showed this to someone who had never seen a vagina before, they would see this image and go, or this animation and go like, this is the specific thing. They're going for something, because this isn't usually how portals look.
I was going to say, critics, how would you open a portal to space?
Well, big circle.
Or within space time, I don't know.
Or a square or a hexagon, any shape, but not this shape.
It's too... God damn it. It's too thick on the sides,
Mm-hmm.
I think. It's that, like, outline.
It's that it has the gunk on the sides at all.
Yeah.
Why does a portal need those?
It's not a particularly good visual either. Yeah, the more you look at it, the more it doesn't look that cool. And also, like, I don't know. I mean, I've seen enough of this movie to know it doesn't matter. Like, you're never like, how did they get to this planet? You just go like, I don't know, they got there somehow. This is there's no way this isn't deliberate.
I mean, I haven't watched the movie yet because I will only force myself to do so if I need to for this podcast.
Which we will.
I know.
Eventually.
We're going to wait for the
probably
sequel.
do it twice. But I can't imagine that anything in that movie needs to be the way it is.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with you. Having seen only this.
Someone reminded in the tweet, like, thread, it reminds them of that time in Man of Steel where Zod and the rest of his, I don't know, like Kryptonian insurrectionists or whatever are sealed up in little penises and flown into space. That is what happens. And that's another Zack Snyder.
Do you think that when they got flown into space, they went through these portals?
I mean,
perhaps. Penises? But then they were a little too big, so they got stuck halfway through, so they had to pull out and then go back in, and then pull out and then go back in.
Oh,
God. I would not say everybody needs to watch Rebel Moon. And clearly not everyone has, but it is this one opening minute or just the GIF. It's weird. Like, I recommend people see it. And it's also the most interesting thing in the movie. Like, from my perspective,
it's always a good sign when the first 30 seconds of a movie contains the most interesting thing in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that true of this week's movie, Aquaman? I cannot remember.
Ooh.
Definitely not, because its opening is not interesting.
Yeah, it's fair.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to it. I kind of like the opening. I didn't like it, but I was like, this is something. But speaking of Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, you guys, let's do Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom.
Let's do it.
It came out this week. It was directed by the guy who did the last one, James Wan, I think.
I think that's about right. Yeah.
Written by some guys, and it starred Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Amber Heard, the fourth person, more than you'd expect. And more than you'd expect, Randall Park is a big player in this.
That's true.
Agreed.
Like, a really big player. Like I said, I think it definitely had the highest grossing, like it was the highest grossing domestic movie of the week. I think it also did okay internationally, but not very well. And it's just another, flop in the year of the flops or whatever this will end up being, because just closing out strong. But Diggins, you're the IMDb's been correct.
I am the IMDb keeper for this week because given absences for the past couple of weeks, this is actually floating off of our Wish podcast where some people are saying the most obvious resounding victory of all time. People have been saying that in the Discord, that it couldn't have been any clearer that I won.
Yeah.
I'm still so angry.
I said that.
I don't have words for my anger.
Yeah. So, people are saying it's so obvious that I won. I won so convincingly, devastatingly even, that DJ shouldn't allowed to ever be the IMDb keeper ever again because of how badly and indisputably he lost.
I think the negging is unnecessary, but it's fine.
I'm not negging you.
I mean,
that would be...
All right. The kicking me while I'm down is
negging you would be if I gave you like really backhanded compliments to lower your self-esteem.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'll go with kicking me while I'm down. But you know what, Diggins, I won't mess with you because you're a beekeeper. I'm not going to mess with you.
Yeah,
that's right.
We'll learn why that's important in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's a little foreshadowing for all of you out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. All right. So Diggins, you're the freaking cool guy.
So now you because you see you're at mostly nitpicking corporation. We play a little game called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee, where my two esteemed co-hosts have to try to guess what the IMDb summary for this movie is. Now you might be asking yourself, where do those darn IMDb summaries come from? Well, I'll tell you. At imdb.com headquarters, they look up into the sky where a giant space vagina opens up and rains down canisters on them. And they open up the canisters and there's movie summaries written in them. Movie summaries that came down from the big vagina in the sky.
Wow.
Yep.
Incredible.
Simple one this week.
Yep.
Good.
Anything notable about this summary?
Yeah, you gonna help us out?
Yeah. Now, on the Discord, they were saying that there used to be one up that was incredibly bad.
Yeah.
And just fully wrong. That is not the one that's up anymore.
Do you want to do, which one do you want to do?
I don't feel like going in the Discord and looking that one up because I'm going to stick with the one that it's on imdb.com because it is still interesting because it reads like an eighth grade book report of someone who skimmed the movie.
Oh wow! So it's short? Is that kind of where?
It's not necessarily like super short, but it's written in a way where the person seems very disinterested in what happened.
Okay.
It's not wrong, I will say. It is.
Okay.
But it's like I say, like think eighth grade book report summary.
All right. Okay.
Now, DJ. As last week's definitive all-time loser, you get to decide who goes first.
You're a monster. I'm gonna go. I want to hear Nando's, and then like a solid eighth grade book report, just copy all of his good stuff. So,
okay,
that's good. That's solid.
Yeah. Okay, eighth grade book report. Webster's Dictionary defines Aquaman as let's say, all right, I'm going to say Aquaman is the king of Atlantis and a new father. After the Black Manta, looking for revenge, discovers an evil trident that can lead him to a weapon that can kill Aquaman or whatever it is. I don't know. You know what? No, lead him to the Lost Kingdom. Aquaman needs to work with his estranged half-brother Orm to stop Black Manta and save the world.
All right.
I think I'm going to go maybe briefer to see if that wins me any points, but it won't because Dickens hates me. Okay. Okay. Aquaman must team up with his on a journey to save Atlantis from Black Manta. This is so stupid. All right, eraser. Okay. It's been rusty. I haven't been here since the hour last week. Okay. Seeking revenge on his arch nemesis Aquaman. No. Aquaman must protect Atlantis from his arch nemesis seeking revenge, Black Manta, after he becomes corrupted by possessing the Dark Trident of the Lost Kingdom. Working together with his brother and some allies, Aquaman must learn to embrace leading Atlantis to victory in order to stop this most perilous threat.
All right. You both did pretty bad.
Okay.
You both wrote this from the perspective of someone who was at least somewhat interested in the movie. I really emphasized 8th grade book report.
Okay.
I think I do have a winner. I'm looking at the trivia right now to see if there's an interesting trivia, but if there's not, then I'm just going to give it to the person who I think won.
I would suggest as a tiebreaker, we could do the bad summary. And then, that would be like kind of interesting, but no pressure.
Well, let's see if I can find it really quick while we all talk about it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind you just giving it to the cool guy who you thought won. That's like a pretty solid strategy in my humble opinion.
That is what you would say.
Just some food. That's what I always say all the time.
Okay, I found the summary that the people were talking about. And it is simply wrong.
Oh, okay. I wonder why it got taken down. Or how it got up there in the first place. That's actually what I
Yeah, I don't know how this got up there. Like, normally when we say that they're wrong, it's like, I mean, in a certain manner of speaking, that's what happened, but it's really not what the movie's about.
Right,
this is fully wrong. Like nothing in this summary happens in this movie.
Wow. So this could be anything. This could be like
like I actually don't think it would be a good tiebreaker because it there's nothing for you to work off of. It's not related to the movie.
I love that.
That's
okay. I'm just gonna give it to the person who I think won, which is Nando.
All right, hooray!
For a single point you had above DJ.
Was it
which
Aqua
is
Baby?
No, which I don't think you even said.
I did. I said he's a new father.
Yeah.
I think I said he's
you
king
did.
of Atlantis and a father.
Yeah, no, that's not in here. Which is that you said the Black Trident instead of the Dark Trident, and it is the Black Trident.
Honestly, I don't even remember saying that, but I'll take it.
That's so unfair.
You did say Black Trident, and DJ said Dark Trident. What do you mean it's not fair? It's A in the summary and B the right name.
I don't care. I'm still calling all the evil bullshit that I've been wronged. Okay.
The only other thing that you both got is that Black Manta and Revenge are in there.
He loves
everything else was pretty much wrong.
This Black Manta, man, it's his favorite. Getting revenge.
That's true.
All right.
He's psyched
So
about it.
here is the summary as written. Black Manta seeks revenge on Aquaman for his father's death. Wielding the Black Trident's power, he becomes a formidable foe. To defend Atlantis, Aquaman forges an alliance with his imprisoned brother. They must protect the kingdom.
Wow, that is really bad.
Yeah, it's super uninteresting.
That's awful.
I told you, 8th grade book report. I feel like that was a good hint.
Put that back in the space vagina. There's no need for that.
God damn, dude.
That's really bad.
Do you want me to read the old one? That was
sure.
Simply wrong.
Please.
Okay, the old one. Aquaman balances his duties as king and as a member of the Justice League, all while planning a wedding.
Wait.
What?
Black Manta is on the hunt for Atlantean tech to help rebuild his armor. Orm plots to escape his Atlantean prison.
Oh my god, yeah, what the hell is that? Like,
it's just wrong.
So many questions.
And like, I don't even think you would get that from watching the trailer. Like,
yeah, maybe somebody saw an early draft of the script or something. I don't know.
That's wild.
Yeah, this movie has been rewritten a lot, but I can't imagine there was like a wedding in it at some point that you had to plan. I don't know. That's really weird.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'd love to hear from, if anybody here works at IMDb, I would love to hear what happened there. Because
if anyone gets to look at the space vagina ejaculations, then we would love to know what was up with that one. But yeah, no, Nando, you and DJ both said Black Manta and Revenge. you said it was that he had the black trident.
Yeah,
whereas
and
TJ said the dark trident. So
they both said he had to work with his brother or something.
yeah,
Some
but
version of that.
neither of you got like the wording particularly right on that.
Right.
So yeah, so I Nando wins by a hair. It's a close one.
So there was no interesting
comfort.
trivia for this one?
I skimmed it, so maybe I missed one, but I didn't see anything particularly noteworthy.
I was going to say I was worried that there would be trivia, not trivia, but I guess a question about the acronym that the octopus is, because I forgot what that was.
Oh, Topo?
I thought it was Toto. Oh,
yeah, it's Topo. No. I know the name of the acronym or of the octopus, so I don't know what it means. Like tactical operations. No, now I'm getting some stuff.
And I don't know.
Planning operative. It can't be that.
Planning
but like
ocean.
Something like
ocean
that.
Planning operations.
Yeah. But this week we are going to try again, because we have all three hosts here, to do the reviews first, and then the summary after, as to not. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, just thinking about Aquaman. As to not spoil the review, or people that want to hear the review or hear if they should see it without just hearing all the events of the movie. I mean, we spoiled a little bit of it by saying that there's no wedding, doesn't join the Justice League, or doesn't plan his escape. And what was the other one? Oh, yeah. Well, Black Manta kind of wants to repair his armor, I guess.
I mean, that's the first, 30 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, he has armor that's broken. But yeah, that's so weird. So because of that, I will go first and say that I didn't really have any strong feelings about this movie. I do think this movie was...
Oh, they do have the acronym for Topo in here.
Oh, okay, what is it?
Tactical Observation and Pursuit Operative.
Ugh.
Okay. We were kind of close. We got two of them.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of it doesn't really matter, and it doesn't make any difference. He's only there for one scene.
No, he's there for a couple.
Is he?
Yeah, he comes back. He helps out throughout the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
There you go. Yeah, maybe I didn't see the Topo cut. But
oh yeah, they were screening that one in mine.
Yeah.
Only in the XT theaters.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I didn't have
you
the one with those
water thrown in your face.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I need the one with the screens on the side so I can see the Topo scenes that happen, because
yes. Absolutely.
That would be good though. DJ, you need to start going to those theaters so that they wake you up every couple minutes.
Right.
With the water they spray at you. That'd be really handy.
We'll get to it.
Well, so I'm going to give my review. I didn't really care for this movie. I think it's fine. I don't know why I don't like it as much as the first one, because it's pretty similar. I think if anything, this movie comes with an interesting kind of pointlessness that is not related specifically to it being the last DCEU movie. There's something about just not caring about what happens in this movie, and it's not that there's no consequences. And I did kind of want to see if spoilers, well, not really spoiling it, I wanted to see what happened to the baby. There was that, but besides that, there's nothing in this movie. I guess part of my big problem with this movie is Ocean Master is the bad guy in the last one, and now he's cool, which happens every single time. But Black Manta, the bad guy that he beat the shit out of in the first movie twice and then had really no problem with, is back. And yeah, he's a little bit more dangerous, but I don't know, he just didn't feel like a big threat. He didn't feel like the Joker that they were kind of making him out to be. And yeah, the family stuff didn't really work. I don't know. Some of the special effects were cool, but I don't know what it is I didn't really care for about this movie, because I don't think it's that much worse than the first one. I don't know if maybe we've gotten tired of Jason Momoa or something, or his charm has worn off in a way that maybe made the first movie interesting, this one not. But
I think the problem is Jason Momoa is fine, and he's still fun and has some charms, etc. But when the first Aquaman came out, we were surrounded by Zack Snyder DC movies.
Right, yeah.
And so the fact that somebody seemed like they were actually having fun and liked to be around and do stuff was whoa, what a breath of fresh air. It's so good to see this guy who's actually enjoying himself. But now there's been James Gunn DC movies where that's normal. And it's not all grim, dark nonsense all the time. So now we just see the mediocre Jason Momoa movie, and the fact that he's just, smiles isn't really a big deal anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. I do think also, like, I don't want to say we're tired of him, like, but I do think Fast X was a little bit much. And like, maybe without that, it'd be more refreshing, but I just cannot get that performance out of my head. I did not like that. I know some people did. Um, yeah, I also think the plot of these is just really, really messy. And I think kind of part of Aquaman 1's appeal was kind of fun, how weird it was and how much like every scene ended with an explosion and how much bullshit where they just like zoom in on the map and then they're there. Like with this one, it doesn't have as much of that. And if it did, it wouldn't feel new and impressive. So it's not really that cool. Yeah, I don't know. But like on its own, most of the action scenes in this movie are fine. Like the acting is okay. I think they're all about the same as they were before. Yeah, and like the fight scenes are like fine. They're like kind of coherent. I do think this movie does, in a way that the other one didn't, go a little overboard in some of the effects, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the color. I do find it a little tough to track.
Maybe it's Martin Short.
Sure.
Wait, is that Martin Short?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even look it up. Oh, man, that's great. Never mind. This movie's cool. I like this movie. That was fun. That bit was good. That bit was actually pretty bad. I didn't like that bit at all. But yeah, I don't know. It's also like, this movie is a lot of things. Like, it's a lot of characters saying things that don't end up being true or mattering. Like, oh, I don't like being king. It's boring. And it's like, dude, okay. Like, that's good that you told us that, but that's what the movie's about, and whatever. Like, yeah, it's just nothing. I don't know. DJ, as the second place person, some would say loser, some would say, almost winner. What did you think of Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom?
I think I landed a lot of the same places you did, Nando. I think for me, why I just landed so meh on this movie, besides other things that we'll talk about, but it's Aquaman again. And I think that's like a problem. Like, it's Black Manta again. It's Orm again, which is fine, but it's like we left him and now he's here again, which is kind of like, all right, well, why are we doing that exactly? And it just, there doesn't feel like a lot of creativeness here. And it does feel like everyone's like kind of done. Like, I'm out, like, senioritis, whatever, It's hard. Like, I don't know if that was true while it was filming, but I think it got delayed so much that it kind of was perceived that way. At least with the end product. And, especially with like no, red carpet or anything, but it just has that kind of like, just like leaves a sour taste in your mouth feel to it, and it's like weirdly like joyless. Like, there are things in here that like should be funny, like eating cockroaches like should be a funny joke, but like I was in a full theater and everyone was like, I don't know, it's fine. So I think just like for me, watching it just felt like so much like a chore. I just was kind of overly bored by it and didn't really care for it. Also, it's like the story's like, parts of it are straightforward, but there's like subplots that like never get brought up. Like, there's something we'll talk about, there's like, maybe we won't, but there's like a council above like the king of Atlantis or whatever, and like at the end of the movie, Aquaman is something they don't like, and they just kind of sit around and like shrug at each other, and it's like, well, do these guys matter? Why are they here? Like, it's just like a lot of that felt very tiresome, that just as a viewer I'm like, this is kind of lame. And yeah, I didn't really care for it. Yeah. Also, I fell asleep, but we'll get to that. Diggins, what did you think of the movie?
I think where a lot of, I didn't like it. I think where a lot of our problems come from this movie. I agree, dog.
Yeah, lady hates this movie.
Fair.
Is that they got bored of making it halfway through. Because the first half is like not particularly great, but is like serviceable Aquaman 1 level stuff, other than some other problems I'll get into in a minute. But then about halfway through, they just sort of lost interest, and everything has a sense of like, we gotta wrap this shit up. And they just sort of like really rush through all the scenes and all the like exposition where it suddenly gets to a point where they're like, yeah, so the thing is this that you've been seeing, and that's why we're doing now, and so we got to go there to do that thing. And then it just goes there, and then they just very quickly zoom through scenes and tell us a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter, and it just really falls apart hard. It's hard to talk about this without knowing what all this stuff is, to be honest, but we'll get to it when we talk more in depth about the movie. So yeah, they got bored of making it halfway through is a huge problem. Another huge problem is kind of like DJ was saying, they tell us out loud with their mouths what the conflicts in the movie are, but they're all lies.
Yeah.
The fact that, because they set up early on, like Aquaman doesn't really want to be king, and then early in the movie, as soon as the plot starts, he's like, I'm gonna go take care of this problem, and he doesn't have to be king for the rest of the movie, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he might as well not be king.
Yeah.
And then like the whole premise of the movie is the like, oh, he's got to work with Orm, they hate each other, and Orm's a bad guy who's evil, and it's like they're like kind of snippy, but they really don't hate each other. And Orm right away is like not evil, is like, as soon as Aquaman busts him out, he's like, when we're done here, I'm going to go turn myself in on her. And I'm like, is that what you would do? What? And never actually does or even threatens to do anything particularly bad or betray Aquaman or anything for the rest of the movie. So there is no tension about him like being evil, because he's just not.
Yeah.
And so like that's the problem. It's like all the conflicts are fake. This is the thing I talk a lot about with these movies, where they like say that they have conflicts, but the conflicts are fake. And that's what makes me not like them very much. And this one's especially bad at it, because they talk about the conflicts constantly, even though they're fake.
Yeah. This movie apparently was like reshot a lot. So I bet there was like versions of this screenplay that are a little bit more, coherent about like him having king problems that he has to solve. But then they just like, those scenes aren't in it. So
just
whatever.
Abandoned the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like that.
What happened.
It could also be that they just never wrote them in, and people were always like, this isn't good. But I could see a world where that's what happened.
So yeah, it's just, that's what it feels like, honestly. It feels like a movie that got rewritten and reshot a million times until nothing really makes sense anymore. So I disliked it. I thought it was bad, and I wasn't happy while I was watching it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's fair. But you guys, it was very important. It had an important message, and that makes it all worth it. And that makes it wrong if you don't like it.
Nando, what was the message?
Global warming is bad. Orichalcos
is that
good.
The message?
Yes, it is. If we do too much global warming, the Black King or whatever we're calling him is going to come out and eat us or whatever. I don't remember. What was he?
God, what was his name? They gave him a name.
Karthak. Was it Karthak?
Yeah, it was
I want to go with Karthak.
And he was like, I guess he was probably...
Karshan. Okay.
Yeah, he was just like king of the Lost Kingdom or whatever. But yeah, he sucked.
Right.
But yeah, so you got to watch out for him. He's in there.
Can I just say, as an aside,
oh god, this is a spoiler, so I don't know if I should say it.
Okay.
Well, guys, this is a spoiler. Skip 15 seconds if you don't want a spoiler. But Nando, it turns out in the end that it doesn't matter if global warming happens. As long as we don't slap some baby blood on there, it's still fine.
Yeah, that's true. So we have to do that too. We got to get that baby's blood going and protect it. Protect all the blood. That's another important thing.
I would like to say as an aside, I appreciate that this is the second movie we've done that I can remember where global warming leads to some kind of big bad threat. The other one was that stupid Tomorrow War movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, global warming released the monsters, so instead of stopping global warming, we just killed the monsters now.
Wasn't that also part of one of the Godzillas? Wasn't one of the Godzilla monsters frozen or something? And it was like, because of global warming, it's kind of free.
That's where all this shit's going.
Now, at least in this movie, they're like, hey, it's bad that the global warming is happening and we should stop it. The Tomorrow War one was insane because they were like, oh, they're here now, and the global warming makes them come out. And they're like, all right, so we know where they are to go kill them. And no one at any point is like, we should stop the global warming, huh?
No.
If there's no global warming, the problem will be solved. Everyone's like, well, obviously the global warming is going to happen and there's nothing we can do about it. So
Yeah.
whatever. Which in retrospect is probably so that they don't piss off conservatives who are like, the climate just changes naturally and it actually has nothing to do with humans. So that it doesn't imply that there's anything we could do to stop it.
I mean, maybe they were just trying to be realistic about what the actual thing that we would do is, you know, we just ignore it and hope that it actually solves itself. I think this version of the movie presents the alternative that I do think exists in people's heads, which is hopefully the Atlanteans help us figure out global warming.
That's right. Yes.
Hopefully some guys come and they give it to us.
Diggins, to your point, I don't want to impugn anyone who I may have been sitting next to in a theater, but when they made the comment about like global warming during the movie, the guy next to me was like, Jesus Christ. So
yeah, and you know what?
Not everyone thrilled with the messaging.
Now that I think about it, speaking of things the first movie didn't the first movie also have like a plot line where like Orm was like mad about pollution and like that was kind of what was driving him?
That was his whole thing. He was like, the surface world sucks because they're ruining this planet. So we're going to kill them all.
We should elect Orm again then because like he's right.
Orm, Orm's got some good points actually.
Yeah, it's a... I mean, I guess if again, if the alternative was just the Atlanteans do it and fix it everything, then that would be great too. But if not, then I think we should make sure the Atlantean king is some sort of violent monster who wants to, get ultimate justice on the land dwellers. But speaking of ultimate justice, DJ, as the loser, you have to summarize Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Do your best because scenes just happen.
Well, I don't want this to be too long for a lot of reasons, but I do want to say on the front end that I did seriously fall asleep during this movie, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. These movie theaters are so comfy. So I'm gonna give the summary. I'm gonna say where I fell asleep, and then I'm gonna say what I think happened, and then we'll just go from there. Does that sound good, boys?
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Okay. Oh man. Aquaman, he's a dad now. That's so cool. Everyone is happy he's king of Atlantis. His wife's happy. His not dad's happy. His mom, AMC is amazing, is happy.
He's his real dad, right?
Right. Sorry. Yeah, it is his real dad. It's right. This other.
He's not related to Atlan. Or wait, is he not related to Atlan?
What?
Wait,
why would he? Wait.
Atlan is is not his father, right?
Correct.
No, he's related to Atlan through his mother, Atlana.
Who is Atlana's husband?
King Orvax.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was like, wait, he must be related to Atlan, but I realized now that was like a past guy, right? Because we see him in the flashback of this.
Yeah.
Oh he's like the founder of Atlantis or whatever.
Yeah.
So everything's going great for Aquaman, except he's sad that he's king. It doesn't matter. All right. So Black Manta, he wants to kill Aquaman, obviously, and he's working with Randall Park to like excavate in Antarctica for like ancient Atlantean stuff, technology, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if Randall Park knows what's there, but he thinks something's there.
Yeah.
Because he's like the Atlantis truther in the last one from maybe like two clips on the news. But then we learn he recovered what was definitely Black Manta's dead body.
Yeah.
From that time Aquaman threw him off a cliff.
I was really confused at watching this movie where I was like, Aquaman's like in the Justice League and is like famous.
Yes.
Do people not know Atlantis exists?
We're going to talk about that. That must be a wheelsize, right?
In the movie before this, the beginning of it was him at a bar taking selfies with guys that were psyched to see Aquaman. So who knows? I don't know. The movie's bad. It doesn't know. Who knows?
So bunch of stuff happens, but Randall Park does find like in Antarctica like this ancient Atlantean like relic place, whatever. And Black Manta finds the Black Trident, not the Dark Trident, and he basically gets visions of what we learned was Atlan's brother who went evil and made like a dark kingdom. that looked like something out of like a Metallica album cover.
Yeah.
Everything was dark, spiky, and green. Completely abandoned the water aesthetic. That is not part of what was this guy's name again?
Corvan or something.
Korvac. Not part of Korvac's vibe. He's not a water guy. He's a dark, fucking evil, magic, green smoke kind of guy.
Yeah, like we kind of see him in the end of it, and he just has like he's just like a guy. But like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, was he part fish like some of these guys, or was he just a guy?
No,
I think he was
this
just
is a guy.
He was Atlan's brother, so he must have been.
Right, and he was played by
that.
he was played by what's his name? The guy from Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Right? The one from the water guy from Game of Thrones.
No, you're thinking of Aquaman is played by Khal Drogo?
No, yeah. No. He's God, I already forgot all the things. He was the guy who came and took over the Iron Islands and then kind of sucked in the end. But everybody sucked in the end. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you're talking about Euron Greyjoy.
Yes, I think that's the actor who plays him in the flashback.
The worst
scene.
character in that show by the end.
I don't know. That's hard. That's a really hard category.
It's a competitive category.
Yeah. But one of them, definitely one of them.
Do you remember how bad he sucked by the end of that show?
He did suck a lot. He was the one who shot the dragon by, magic, kind of.
Yeah,
that was him.
He's good at it. You aim good.
He's the one who could, because he was evil, was allowed to do anything he wanted at any time and succeed because fuck you.
He wanted to fuck the queen.
He did. He had a lot of sex stuff. He was a very sexy guy.
So yeah, he's Karlak.
Well, how dare you?
Michael Carfax. Show me the Carfax.
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna go with Carfax.
Yeah.
So now
Kordak.
Carfax has possessed.
Different guy. The old fox in a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Yep.
So Carfax has possessed Black Manta and is making him eviler or like different intent, but he's like, you go kill Aquaman. You're even more evil.
I don't know. Black Manta was already pretty evil. It feels like it's a lateral move at best.
Completely.
I don't know.
It's so dumb. It is like they saw Wish and went, you know what didn't make any sense in Wish? We should probably do that in this too, right? Big glowing green thing makes his eyes green. Yeah. And then he just does the thing he already wanted to do, but more. So dumb.
So now he's on a quest to, big time kill Aquaman. So he's harvesting all of this evil ore called I
think you can do this.
I really want you to try.
Orthicum?
Orthicum.
No, it's more word, like there's like, I don't know, 5 syllables in it.
4 syllables in there, yeah.
4, yeah. It's much longer. They say it a lot too.
Orthanium?
No, wow.
No,
you're getting further away.
You'd think it's that because it's one of these bullshit elements from one of these movies, but it actually has like a different kind of suffix.
It actually comes from myth, from Greek myth.
Oh, is it a real thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Please put me out of my misery. I cannot.
Orichalcum.
Calcium. All right. Calcium.
Yeah.
So they're collecting all the ore and calcium to I don't know, it's bad. Oh, it's gonna help. So what we learn is they have to melt the ice caps to get out Carfax. So once Carfax's original body is out, they can get him.
Well, no, DJ. Eventually, we'll learn that it's immaterial to getting his body out.
We don't know that right now.
Wait a second.
Right now, it really seems like a problem.
I mean, we don't know the thing you said right now either. So
wait a second. Did King Atlan create the polar ice cap or whatever to imprison?
He big froze him.
No, he just froze Carthalax. And then it happened to eventually become the polar ice caps. I don't know.
How long ago did this happen?
He seemed to big freeze him. There was a lot
no sense
in that flashback. We'll get to it, but it was like big freeze. But okay, whatever. It's a big picture. So he's collecting.
We're
all
about
this ore.
15 minutes into the movie, by the way. We've made no progress.
So yeah, he's collecting all this ore, and it's bad, and it's bad for the planet. So okay, about now is where I fell asleep. but I think
That's
I can
so
get us
early in
there.
the movie, DJ.
I was very comfy and it was very boring.
Yeah.
It only picked up from there, in my opinion. So what I think happens is Black Manta like attacks Atlantis with his like big army and guns. And he has a cannon that like fucks up their nervous system, and he has all the bad ore, and he does like a big attack on Atlantis, and like doesn't win, but sends a goddamn message.
Well, so this is actually while he's still stealing the orichalcum. This is a big reserve that's right near Atlantis, and they get caught stealing it. So he fights his way out. He does not launch an attack.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But other than that, I mean, as far as other scenes, this is the scene I think where Aquaman goes to like the city council meeting is here.
Yeah, and he's like, I want to fix all our problems. And they're like, fuck you.
Yeah. They're like, the humans can't know about us. And Aquaman's like, wait a second.
I remember that. So
okay.
I guess at some point, maybe I was fading in now, but I do remember that the stupid council meeting that doesn't matter.
And this is the scene. This is mainly the scene where Mira does a lot of stuff that they chose not to put in the trailer for some reason.
Oh, who could wonder why?
Yeah, can't even imagine.
Yeah. So then I wake up and now they're like, wow, this Black Manta guy is a problem. And I don't think they even know about the Black Trident yet. They're like, he's really good.
He used it. They don't know what it is, but they've seen it.
Sure. Right, okay.
And he knows that Black Trident made him super cool.
Right, he's so good now. There's only one person who can help us, Orm. But he's locked away in desert prison by the fisherman tribe or whatever. So we got to break him out.
Right, because Orm's a big old nerd who knows about all this bullshit. Nobody else knows any of this stuff.
It's like there's only one man who can get the Black Manta, and it's Orm.
I was gonna say it's not actually about the Black Trident at all. It's just like he hung out with Black Manta once, so maybe he knows where he is.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
But I think the big old nerd plays into
seems like a real slender reed to hang a prison break on.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Hard agree. But whatever. So we have an awesome prison break scene that is fine. There's an octopus that helps, and they break him out, and he's like, God damn it, Aquaman, I hate you so much. Stop calling me brother. And it's like, but I guess I'll help you because I ain't got shit else to do. Actually, at one point, he's like, I really should stay because I'm an honorable man, and there was a treaty. And he's like, we'll just throw you back in prison later. He's like, fine, whatever.
And you're like, wait a minute, if you care so much about treaties and honor, why'd you kill their fucking king in the first place?
Also a great point.
Also, like, wait, so can we not just visit him and ask him these questions? Like, why do we have to break him out? He would have told us, it seems like.
They're like, the fisherman will never let you free Orm. And I'm like, so can you be like, hey guys, can we ask him a couple questions and then leave him to rot anyway?
Yeah.
I don't know. That feels reasonable to me.
Also, like, are Aquaman and Orm the only guys that are good? Like, it seems like they are Superman to all the rest of these guys.
You got Dolph Lundgren. He's doing his best.
Sure, but he usually runs around with a gun in a suit or something. And like these two can like fly around and do all kinds of bullshit and they're like, super strong. Yeah. Is your average Atlantean not just like this? Could they not just get somebody else?
I thought the point, like the reason why Aquaman is so strong is because, living at the bottom of the ocean with all that pressure means you have to be really strong. So it would be true of any Atlantean.
And also, like, if you're saying
his only special power is that he can talk to fish.
Right.
A thing that they make a big deal of, as though it was 30 years ago on the internet when everyone made fun of him for that. But then he never uses it for almost the entire movie.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So they break Orm out, and it's great. And Orm's like, there's only one place we can go to get this info. Casino Planet. We're going to go to our very own Casino Planet. Wrapping up DCU, we go to Casino Planet. They
How
have
dare
to...
you?
I don't know.
How dare you suggest that this is anywhere near as cool or interesting as the Casino Planet?
I mean, it's a Casino Planet. So they have to like surrender their weapons and be prisoners, and they get taken to like a Jabba the Hutt-like character who's just like a big old fish monster.
Who's Martin Short.
Voiced by Martin Short.
Which I like.
Cool. And essentially he tells them to go kick rocks. Aquaman does big Aquaman beats everyone up, and he's like, okay, I'll tell you, please don't beat me up. And then they find out that he's at like this volcanic this island that is now all terraformed and basically is now Journey to the Center of the Earth-ified. And that's where he's hanging out. And and I feel like they could have figured that out without like this whole thing, but it's fine.
DJ, you think that they could have found the island with the volcano belching green smoke, releasing so many greenhouse gases that it causes decades of climate change in like a month? You think they could have found that on their own?
Or anyone else, like any government or anyone.
You think it would have been water, like every government on Earth would have found it immediately?
Like, I don't understand how like Black Manta is able to escape and Aquaman can't just ask the fish around him like, where'd he go? Because he should be able to do that. I don't understand what's going on. He forgets
that he can do, even though he made such a big deal about it at the start of the movie, he forgets that he can do that until the end.
It'd be super helpful.
Oh God. Well, anyway, they go here. They infiltrate the island. The island's all crazy. The plants are attacking them. Aquaman convinces Orm to eat a cockroach. It's very funny. Or it's supposed to be, but it just kind of a shrug.
I was about to ask, is it?
Did anyone in your theaters laugh? No one in my theater laughed. And I had a pretty packed theater.
There were some people behind me who were having a good time, and I was like, what's wrong with you?
Can you imagine pitching this scene, though, now that I think about it? They'd be like, people would be, no, of course not. This is a water movie. Why are they going to the fucking Journey to the Center of the Earth? Like, we've already done so many versions of this in this movie. Nicole Kidman kind of lived here, not this place, but like a similar kind of place.
Yeah.
Like, we were in Greece for a while. Can any of this be underwater? No, absolutely not. We have to do bugs. It's like Jurassic Park.
Whatever CGI or whatever they did to make their hair like float around in the water looks really bad.
Yeah. I think it worse.
Probably expensive. So they get to Black Manta's base. They have a big fight. Black Manta basically wins and escapes.
They make a big deal of like he shows up and they're like, he's not wearing his suit, but he's still strong. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, he is wearing his suit?
And also,
what are you talking about? Is that not his suit?
I think they think he was wearing the like robot parts of his old bulky suit were what gave him super strength. But I never read it like that. I just assumed he was like kind of good at like punching and had like swords and stuff. But I guess it was also like kind of an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I was gonna say the main thing about his suit was always that it shot big old laser beams, which it still does.
I guess it was made. Orm gives Black Manta in the first one like a case full of like Atlantean weapons that are made of whatever is not orichalcum, but is some other element that's magic from Atlantis. So I guess his suit could like probably take some big hits, but yeah, I don't know what. I mean, it's part of this movie. Just there's no continuity scene to scene. So I guess you're just supposed to believe them if they say this.
The problem with this movie is it both expects you to remember the first Aquaman really well, which of course I don't. But also, if you do remember the first Aquaman, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, this is the scene from Blue Beetle where the scientist guy is like, I don't think it's okay to do evil stuff anymore. Yeah. I'm turning on you. He doesn't fully do it yet, but like this is where that happens.
He tries to, but then he gets exploded. Yeah. And you're like, oh no, they've captured him after he tried to turn, but it turns out none of them heard him do that. Mm-hmm. So he still just hangs out with the evil guys for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
This is also the scene where Orm touches the Black Trident and
his eyes get all crossed. Yeah. Whoa! it's like to not to get back to this, but it's like that scene where Dan Aykroyd gets a blowjob from a ghost.
It's that guys. I'm here. Yep. I'm here. We can't have this kind of talk.
Orm makes a big sticky mess in his pants. After he touches the trident.
It really is. For people that haven't seen it, like, you're gonna have to wait until this comes out on video, but like, it's a funny face.
In 2 days ago when you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So he becomes an exposition machine. They go do they go from here to burn down house, or do they go from here to secondary location?
First, they go to like they have like a little meeting with everybody else. Like Nicole Kidman is there on like set, a very, very, very much set.
Yeah, and this is where Orm gives the exposition dump, and so I love this, by the way.
Yeah.
It says, okay, so he has to free, this is where we learn, he has to free the body from the ice that King Atlan had said, so that's why global warming. But also, King Atlan invoked blood magic, which Nicole Kidman is like, blood magic is just DNA. It's not magic.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's still magic.
Yeah, right.
It's not like he did blood-fueled science to make eternal ice.
Yeah.
In what way is the descendant of the guy who did the blood magic his blood can also do it? How is that not still magic?
No, it's just DNA. It's just DNA. You throw some hair on there.
It's not even like that's not normally a part of blood magic that your descendants can also affect it. That's actually quite standard with blood magic.
And it's also not like some of the stuff that's in this movie where it's like, oh, they have a little ship that kind of looks like it's kind of magic, but really it's got sciencey stuff in it. It's just magic. Yeah, it's, you know.
That line, I died.
No, I'm with you. She said that, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's DNA.
It's Dino DNA.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh my god, but who could that be? Well, it could be Arthur or Orm or Arthur Jr., the baby.
I also do want to quickly say they give the backstory of like Carthalax and his brother, his Atlan's brother.
Yeah.
And they did the whole thing. And it's like, he was part of the Lost Kingdom, but it turned out they were evil. And I was like, what was this secretly evil kingdom called? Oh, it was just Necrus, the Black Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, as soon as they called themselves that, you guys should have been like, all right, so we gotta do something about these guys.
So they're like, oh no, Arthur Jr. is going to be in trouble. So they go to Aquaman's house. It's burned down, or it's on fire. So Black Manta stabs Clone Wars man.
Yeah.
Stabs Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to make it so Aquaman sees you die. Steals the baby.
And while he's lying dead on the floor, he's like, please, before you go, give me a frosty cold Guinness, please.
I forgot about the Guinness. A classic beer that people in the ocean love. A cool island beer. Man, like there's several Hawaiian beers and stuff. And I believe Jason Momoa is Hawaiian. How could he not get one of them in here?
I'm not sure if he's Hawaiian specifically.
Some kind of Polynesian.
Some kind of Polynesian.
Yeah.
I could have sworn he was Hawaiian, but
he might be. I don't know
yeah.
that he's not, but I don't know that he's specifically Hawaiian.
He is. Yeah, he is. He was born in Honolulu.
He's Hawaiian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, could have got Kona Blue.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more than one.
Blue Wave, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, but ice cold.
Well, they don't
Guinness.
have the deep pockets that Guinness does. So.
Maybe Aquaman's host is set on like the coast of Ireland or something. Like that. Maybe
I mean,
that's why
they're in like Maine, right?
Specifically New England. Yeah.
New England.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they moved
a beer
anyway.
desert, as it were. They have yet to invent beer in New England.
Give me a sweet Sam Adams.
Yeah.
That would have been a good one. All right. So house is on fire, and Black Manta's like, I'm not gonna kill you. Aquaman's gonna watch you die. Steals the baby. Aquaman and crew get there. Luckily, you're able to save Aquadad via, I guess, Atlantean magic science or whatever.
Yeah.
They put him in a big, like, fucking magic heal bubble.
They put him in a Bacta tank, like from the Book of Boba Fett.
You're right.
They borrowed it from that movie.
They put him in a portable Bacta tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, Black Manta, finish the job next time you hack.
Honestly.
But Baby's Gods are like, no, we gotta go after him.
Well,
so,
it's a much longer no, but yes, he says say no very, very dramatically.
Gotta go after him. So they all go, right? Fucking Mira, Orm, Aquaman, Dolph Lundgren, Big Crab Man, voiced by Gimli.
Yeah.
All of them, right? So they all go after Black Manta. So there's like a lot that goes on with this. Whales come and help out.
Aquaman remembers that he can talk to fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you're like, whales aren't fish. And he's like, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
You can also talk to mammals, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks to mammals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? So, yes, he does monkeys, whales, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Him.
Raccoons, whatever. Squirrels. So, that's part of it. The other part is basically it's the point where Aquaman and Orm are giving chase to Black Manta. They get to where Carfax's body is. There's a big like Orm gets the black trident and Carfax is like, it could be you. And then Aquaman grabs it and it's like, no, we're good or whatever. Black Manta's Carfax leaves Black Manta, so he's just a fucking guy. He doesn't matter. But now Orm is the big bad. He punches Aquaman so hard he spits blood onto the pedestal, freeing Carfax. Is it Orm like? This is where I almost fell asleep but didn't. Does Orm gain control and throw the trident, or is Aquaman like, no, I'm going to throw the trident?
Orm relinquishes the trident because he decides to be a good boy.
Right. Aquaman throws it. Carfax catches it super cool. It's like, oh no, now we have to deal with Carfax. What are they going to do? It's going to be set to this big mega fight. It's going to be so crazy. But Aquaman just then throws his trident and kills Carfax. It's fine.
Yeah,
totally fine.
Turns out that if you just throw the other trident at the black trident explodes.
Yeah.
It's too bad King
cool.
Atlan never thought of that.
What an idiot. That's more or less the end of the movie. Baby saved. Randall Park helps with that. There's like a bunch of stuff that does not matter. Black Manta decides to fall down a pit instead of being saved by Aquaman. Aquaman is king and is happy. And Orm, they're like, hey, bro, we're not going to send you back to the Fisherman tribe. You died. So now you just have to be exiled. Go fuck off and do whatever because you can't be in Aqua Society because it'll make the Fisherman tribe mad. So go be exiled. And he's like, I guess I'll have a big juicy burger. And that's the goddamn
conversation
movie.
They had earlier where he's like, you should eat human food.
There's one other scene that's pretty important and incredibly tacked on.
What, the post credit or my gosh, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. And Aquaman decides, hey, the only way that we're gonna be cool is if I reveal myself. So Atlantis reveals themselves to the world. They're gonna share their technology with the world. And the council shakes their head at this. They're very upset. And then Aquaman's at a podium being like, we could solve the climate crisis together. And then he ends by saying, I am Aquaman. Woo. And then that's the movie.
Does that remind you of anything, guys?
I mean, it reminds me of the couple of times he's already said that in these. I'm pretty sure that's the last line of the other movie, too. But yeah, it reminds me of something. I can't quite put my finger on it. It feels better. I don't know what it was, but I kind of liked it. It's all right, you guys. You know what? Wheel. Let's do a wheel. I was going to make a fun transition, but I'm saving that for
a thing they'll never need in Atlantis because of how underwater it is.
That's true.
Big
but I spun the wheel. It landed on one of mine. This is the first thing on the wheel. Sick donuts. Remember the part of this movie where Aquaman's just doing sick donuts in the parking lot?
That's
with
true.
His motorcycle?
Just cause.
That can't have been in the script, right? He was just like, hey, James, I got an idea. And it was so late in the day that James didn't want to fight, or James didn't want to fight with him anymore. So he's like, all right, whatever.
I was like, all right, buddy.
It's such a weird little thing to start the movie. And I don't mind the intro where it's like him fighting the guys on the ship. And then he goes back to playing with his kid and like, action figures. I thought that was kind of cute. And then, but then, that whole scene has like Born to Be Wild on it and just ends with him on a motorcycle for some reason.
Yeah. I hated the voiceover on that scene.
Where
he's all talking about like, I'm the Aquaman and I'm cool and I'm a dad, and acting like he just read like a Sean Baby article from 2003 where he's like, people think it's stupid and dumb that I talk to fish, but actually it's cool.
I mean,
and I'm like, people haven't made that joke in 20 years, my guy.
Yeah, like, I think at this point, what in the universe of this movie, if you're counting Peacemaker, the joke is that you have sex with the fish, Aquaman. You should probably tell your kid about that before he hears about it on the internet from the Flash or whatever. But like, that's way bigger deal. And yeah, you don't really talk to the fish that much, so who cares? You talk to them when they're in little cages, like I think the first time he does it, he's like at a aquarium, and then he has like a little fish tank, which seems quite cruel.
Harry Potter scene.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah,
which won't be the last reference in this movie.
No, it will not. I thought it was weird that he did sick donuts. And yeah,
well, how else will you know that he's fun and cool?
I mean, like, yeah, and he's like, he has that scene too, and I didn't mind this, although I think this is also worth talking about in the intro where he's like, I do a lot of king things, like fighting in cage matches to stop the cage matches that are illegal or something. It's like, what is the king of Atlantis do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is your kingly job, and what authority do you have that no one seems to respect? Like, because the casino guy, I get it, because it's like, but like, again, this movie kind of treats him like he's a cop instead of the king of Atlantis, and it's really weird that they do that.
I mean, it makes, like, it is not unheard of that kings have councils or other, like, appointed or legislative bodies that they can't just overrule. Like, there are many monarchical systems in which that is a feature. So I get the idea of just, like, there was a council that he can't be against. And it was almost interesting the way that Aquaman had, like, defeated Orm and took the throne because he is the rightful king, I guess. Or, there was a political dispute. But then he has to deal with where thereafter, like, all the people that allowed Orm to rise and, like, supported him in the first place are still part of the political structure of Atlantis. And are like, we liked it better when Orm was going to kill everybody. And, like, he just has to deal with that politically. And I'm like, that's a kind of an interesting notion.
Yeah.
And then they stop showing up after this scene, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Because, also, like, I spun the wheel again, landed on one of mine. Wait, who are these guys? Because we got a couple of different kings of different, like, zones, right? The crab guy, Jimon Hansu Fishman, who had, I guess, a son or daughter or something that became the new heir. King Nereus, the Dolph Lundgren, Gunnar Jensen, and then Aquaman.
I guess Mira's dad.
Yes, that is the redheads, the sea redheads. You see Mira's dad. You have Aquaman, who is in charge of a kingdom as well, I believe. Like, I think he's the head of the kingdom of Atlan or something.
Well, he's the king of Atlantis.
Well, right, but it feels like the kind of thing where he's the governor and also the president of a state. Because if you try to figure out what the 7 kingdoms are, there's the Brine Kingdom, right? That's the crabs. The Fisherman Kingdom, Jimon Hansu, the redheads. The monster guys from the first movie that we don't really do anything with here, the Trench, I think was what they were called.
Are they a kingdom? I thought they were just a bunch of evil monsters.
I thought they were a kingdom that was kind of ungovernable and just like, oh man, all right, let's go with this. Aquaman 7 Kingdoms. But I thought one of them was just like the rest of them, and that was the one that Aquaman was in charge of. But he was also like, the Trench is one of them. Okay, 7 kingdoms. What the fuck? Okay. Atlantis is a kingdom.
Yeah.
Huh. So wait.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, I thought him being the king of Atlantis meant he was above the rest of these guys.
No. Atlantis is just one of the 7 kingdoms.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah.
That's why Orm needed all the other kingdoms to support him.
Right, to become the Ocean Master. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So it's weird that there's different, I guess it's like there's kings of different like countries in like Europe, and then there's like Europe is the EU. But anyway, so you got Atlantis, you got Zebel, which I believe is where the redheads come from, the Trench, the Brine, the Fishermen, the Kingdom of the Deserters, which I think
those are the fucking evil monsters from later that we'll talk about.
But then there's also the Kingdom of the Valor. I don't know what that is. That's pretty weird. But anyway, there's also some council or something, which part of me was like, did they put this in place after the Ocean Master thing because it was just such a disaster? But I don't think that's what it is.
But no, they talk about how Orm came to us and was like, I want to be Ocean Master and kill all the humans. And we were like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Yeah, there's no explanation for what this Kingdom of the Valor is. That's weird.
But they just needed 7 just sounded better than 6.
Yeah.
So
and they
put
that
to make one up.
They made that poster that said Unite the 7 when they did this in Batman v Superman that never actually went anywhere. So I think they kind of figured they should do that. Yeah, and we never figured out what that was. And we never will, because unless it comes up in this. But yeah, the deserters or whatever is a tribe that broke off of Atlantis and settled in the ruins that they go to and pee on in the first movie. But like in like the Sahara. So I guess the Lost Kingdom is the other one that is the deserters, that is this evil bad guy kingdom. They should just call it the Dark Kingdom then or whatever, because not really the Lost Kingdom.
The Lost Kingdom is this other one that we're talking about.
Right, but I'm saying right? They should call this the Dark Kingdom or whatever, like Necrus. Like, because that's what
Necrus, the Black Citadel.
yeah, like that's what it's called. I think the kingdom's name is Necrus, and the Black Citadel is like the, you know, the DC, Washington DC of it, not to be confused with DC Comics. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, these movies are all like it's bad. But yeah, it's weird that there's this council. For me, I thought that was strange. Spin the wheel again. Landed on one of DJs. This one just says Wahoo.
Oh man,
he does say that in this movie.
He does say that. Did you guys have fatigue from all of the Wahoo that he did? And I also, maybe this was explained in either a previous Aquaman or Justice League or maybe even Wonder Woman movie. But what is it? Like, what is that supposed to be? Like, I know it's his like war cry, but like it's weird. It feels more Jason Momoa than Aquaman.
Well,
I think that's DJ, what it is.
Sometimes when people are happy or otherwise expressing joy, they do so by exclaiming just a noise that's supposed to represent kind of like a general vibe that they're trying to put out. And Wahoo is one that we have generally agreed is for when you're like kind of doing something cool and adventurous and you're having a good time.
Okay, cool. You guys will agree with me that it's insane in this movie, right? Like, it sounds like a crazy person. And
it does sound weirder in this movie than it has in the past.
Like, I don't know if it's about like when he says it or there's something off about the Wahoos. Like, understood, yes, it is a exclamation of joy. There's just like something wrong with this one that I couldn't exactly place, but I'm like, something's not right. Something here is not. It's not right.
I have to admit, there's a small part of me that worries that this is some sort of Hawaiian or Polynesian thing and we're being wildly culturally insensitive right now.
Okay. Well,
wouldn't be the first time.
But okay. I had a good one. I'll get canceled. Is it like, if it is, then is it like, I don't know, like if there's no context, like Aquaman he's like Atlantean, right? And like Orm's not running around going like Wahoo, so it's like also like that going on. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the fictional character versus the actor, what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Clearly, he learned all his Wahoos from his dad, Tamora Morrison, who is always very expressive and and you know, exuberant in all the time, and would be shouting Wahoo like that.
Like, I mean, in Hobbs and Shaw, when The Rock has to recruit Roman Reigns and all those guys, and they're doing all their like hype up chanting, like it makes sense because in like the context of the movie, they're all Samoan, right?
Well,
so, yeah.
And in this movie, he still does the haka that he did, I believe, in the first movie at some point too, right before he does the big trident throw at the end of the movie. So we do get a little bit of that in here. I just assume the Wahoo is because he's a cool excitement dude from like the 90s. But I think this one, it became kind of a meme where like in the first Justice League trailer, people were kind of joking about that because he did go like, my man. And then they threw him and he's like, Wahoo. And then he did it a couple times in the next movie. And it feels like in this movie, they're like, oh, we got to give the people some Wahoos. Like he thinks he's Ric Flair or something, basically.
Interesting.
And that's my read on it. Again, it could be, I don't think it's like, I mean, if Wahoo, just the idea of Wahoo was at some point a cultural thing, then there's that. But I just think it's something that you say, like, you know.
What worries me, the reason it worries me is because of one of the Hawaiian Islands is Oahu.
No, like I get that. It's just it feels so separate from like what's happening in the movie, and like I don't know, maybe like I will learn that it does make sense that it's in the movie, but like he didn't do that in like Game of Thrones. Like Drago wasn't like, oh, give me a golden throne, Wahoo.
Ivan Drago from Rocky IV?
Whatever.
No.
I didn't know that was Jason Momoa.
Yeah, it's this guy,
so
Gunnar
long
Jensen.
we all stopped caring about Game of Thrones.
He's in this movie.
Khal Drogo, whatever. Like, he didn't go, fucking in Fast X, he wasn't like, Dominic Toretto, time to die, Wahoo.
I would not be convinced he does not do that in Fast X.
I
haven't seen it in a while.
I'm not willing to stake my reputation on saying he doesn't say Wahoo in that movie.
I will be on my own island with I think it feels out of place, but just like it removed me from what was going on in the movie like when it happened. So I'll be alone on that one and possibly be culturally insensitive.
I'm not here to defend the Wahoos. I'm just saying. Also, obviously, what it means is that he had just finished playing Mario.
Yeah.
And was just kind of feeling like you're just kind of feeling in a Charles Martinet sort of mood.
That explanation I would accept.
It sounds more Mario than it used to, though. Like to our point before,
It really
like,
does. It really
something
does.
about it.
Yeah.
I will also say, yeah, I don't know. The first movie, it felt stuff like that fit in because it did have that kind of fun vibe where like they just play the Pitbull song when they got out of the water in slow motion.
Right.
And he would say like to the guy before he jumped out of the plane, like, redheads, am I right? And then jump out and do like the Wahoo thing. And this movie does not have that. Like, it's not fun. There's like we were saying, there's like 2 minutes in the middle where it tries to do that with the worm. It doesn't really work. And then it just goes back to nothing. But what it does go back to, speaking of a worm, I spun the wheel again, landed on one of Diggins' Atlantean Dementors. What are those guys? What's their deal?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of evil black monsters who run the prison that Orm is in. And they say something about how they like survive by drinking blood. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like, listen, I guess it's very woke of you to point out that prison guards are inherently evil monsters.
Heyo.
Which is true in real life. But it feels weird in this superhero movie that this good guy kingdom has the world's most evil prison guards.
Yeah.
Which was also true in Harry Potter. It's weird that our prison, I mean, for a while there, that the Ministry of Magic was actually pretty terrible was sort of a plot point before she decided she didn't care. So I guess the prison being so evil made some sense when you consider that. But at no point are we supposed to be, man, these Fisherman Kingdom guys, maybe they're not so cool. They just have a super evil prison for no reason.
I mean, they are the ones that get beat up a lot, and that's usually some kind of tacit, like, these guys are cool, because they got the shit kicked out of them.
That's true. And I would say maybe under normal circumstances, they'd be like, just send him to the prison. But Orm did kill their king. So maybe they're like, fuck Orm. Let's make sure we send some of our skeleton guys to guard him in case he decides to kill our guy again. Because he's a piece of shit. That would feel right to me, but it is weird. That whole thing is weird. That whole thing is weird because that whole section of the movie has another wheel slice of mine, which is spun the wheel again. Just hey, is Aquaman invisible now? Seems pretty handy. Where'd that go? Like, it didn't break, did it?
It's not like an inherent power of his. He gets a suit.
It's just a suit, right?
But like the suit does it. Like he has it on in the scene where he does the breakout, and they do the breakout, and then the next scene he's in clothes again, like a t-shirt or whatever, and he never puts this, ultra sneak suit on.
Like it would be good all the time. What you mean?
Yeah, like when you're
like,
trying to break into Orm's Aquaman prison or whatever, like the secret base.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you would have this for, I assume. And I don't think it makes any sense in this movie. There's no good reason to have it, but like, why not? I don't know. It's weird.
They need some kind of thing, like, but within the movie where the time turners break, like, all of the technology for the suit broke, so you can't do it anymore.
Right, or like do a Mission Impossible thing where, Aquaman was trying to sneak out Orm and he had this whole plan, but the suit just malfunctions at a really inopportune moment, and then, they're like, bring it back to Necrus, and like, your suit didn't work, and he's like, it was new technology or whatever. I just fucking around. What do you want me to do? What do you think? I could just do invisible now? We can't do that, but I don't know. It's pretty weird. What do you guys think of Nicole Kidman in this movie, by the way? Because this is not on the list.
I think that it's here. That's where magic happens. That's what I think. Because here they are, or whatever. Whatever stupid thing.
I mean, she did as good a job as you can with one of these movie roles in a superhero movie where you get to like sit on camera and say a bunch of lines that it is impossible to do with any real emotion.
Yeah. And she definitely had a lot of green screen filming on a big shark, like big blue thing where she had to pretend to be riding it. There was probably a lot of that.
Yeah, that was probably amazing.
And she had to talk about how much she loved her son that she's never seen.
Yeah. Yeah. The cast of this movie is weird when you get down to it. Martin Short aside. It is weird that Nicole Kidman
Martin Short included. What are you talking about?
Martin Short aside. This is his first one. I'm talking about like the standard Aquaman cast. By the way, speaking of that, we haven't really brought him up yet. Remember, what's his name? Fucking poor thing's his own. Yeah. Died from Atlantis disease or something.
Yeah. They're like, there eventually someone just comes up and is like, man, it's sad that Willem Dafoe died between the last movie and this one, huh?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Huh?
That pollution, it's really getting our older actors who don't really want to do this anymore, huh? Yep. Can't let it get them all.
Man. That's
But-
so great.
Yeah, man. Like this first movie had like, it was like Nicole Kidman, Willem Dafoe, Jimon Hansu. They killed Jimon Hansu. Willem Dafoe died off screen. Nicole Kidman's kind of dead for most of it. It's just Aquaman and Orm. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I spun the wheel again, landed on I think one of Diggins' Naruto running.
Yeah, so we get a bit once Orm and Aquaman are hanging out where they're like trying to be cool and relatable in the movie.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh man, it's funny because Orm doesn't know how to do things not in the water because he's always been in the water.
Yeah.
And they kind of they like weirdly implied that Orm is also like half human or in some way is able to be of both the land and the sea like Aquaman is. But I'm like, but he's not though. They have a different dad and his dad is Atlantean, like his mom. So he's just a normal Atlantean, and Atlanteans can be in the air as well as the sea, and that's fine. But like, he doesn't have any special affinity for the land like you do, Aquaman.
Yeah, now that I think about it, he goes to the land. There's one scene in the first one where he goes to visit Black Manta and gives him the gun. Oh no, he doesn't even go. He sends a little hologram. I'm looking at it now because I pulled it up. Like, you figure he would learn to run when he's in his little jail, you know? He'd be like, I should probably figure out how to walk here.
Well, he is deprived of water in that jail. And like this to me felt like so because this happens during the 30 minutes while we're on the fucking island. During the Center of the Earth island, and yeah, it's like, oh, eat a cockroach. You're so weird. But like it tried to bring levity to this movie where it wasn't there, and I just think it's because like no one gave a shit, and that's the problem with this movie is like no one gave a shit. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
I don't know. It's like my read.
Wait a second. Okay, I did bring up the old movie. He fights Aquaman in the end of it on a ship in the land, and they run. He knows how to run.
All right.
What's this guy's deal? He's trying to be cute? I don't know. It's weird.
They just lied to us, is
He
what you're
forgot.
saying.
Now, again, it's like another thing. And I think this is also a problem with this movie. You can make this movie once, but the second time you make it, you do have to start kind of figuring out some stuff, or like at least, stay marginally coherent. And they just didn't do that. And some of the stuff just doesn't work.
Who needs to stay marginally coherent?
That's a good point. It's never stopped them before. But yeah, he does do Naruto run. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
What do you think the instructions in the script for that were? Did they write down Naruto run? Was that like how that was written down?
Does Patrick Wilson know what a Naruto run is a question. Like, could you convey that to him? I don't think
I'm not
he does.
sure.
I think from what I know about Patrick Wilson, he seems like he's a very serious actor guy.
Okay.
Who like takes the craft very seriously.
Okay.
And that leads me to believe he's like a theater kid, kind of. Like, that's what he grew up doing.
Okay.
Not like kind of like a Timothy Chalamet or a Michael B. Jordan who's secretly a nerd his whole life.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure the script just said Orm does a silly run or something. But
well, they're trying to make it like fun and relatable.
Yeah.
And like what's probably the next wheel chunk. I'll talk about why.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that's not what this character is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orm is weird too because I've heard people bring this up before. I didn't think it originally, but now I kind of do. It's interesting that he is played by Patrick Wilson, who I don't believe is blonde in real life. He can't be. But they made him blonde for this. And I don't know if Orm usually is. Patrick Wilson looks like what Aquaman looks like in the comic books. Like exactly like that. It's weird that they did that. Like, and I'm wondering, like, was that intentional? Were they supposed to be like, this guy kind of looks like Aquaman? Or was it just like, we want to give this guy a different hair color than Jason Momoa? I don't know.
What did you think of Patrick Wilson in general in this movie?
Fine.
Like, did you like his fine? Yeah, I honestly, and it's a low bar. I think he might have the best non-Martin Short performance in the movie.
I mean, I think he's doing a fine job with what is essentially a random collection of lines.
Yeah.
That are not meant to like be a coherent character.
Right.
Like he's essentially, they just wrote a bunch of lines, free form, separate from the movie and the idea of all being connected to any specific character, and then told him to say them all in order, as though it was all part of a singular psychology that we're supposed to follow.
Right.
I mean, he certainly makes it seem more like that than it is, which is not at all. So that's good for him.
Yeah. That's fair.
What do you think he was better in this or Moonfall? Remember he's in Moonfall?
I mean, how could he possibly top his performance in one of the best movies of all time?
Yeah.
That's huge.
He was good in that.
Points right there.
It does remind me too. He was in, because we just rewatched the second season of Fargo. He's in that, and he's very good in that. Everybody's very good in that. But like, it's like there was I don't know. Yeah, they just don't give him anything fun to do in these. I liked it more in the first one, I think, because he had a bunch of scenes where he just yelled a lot and was like, "I'm the Ocean Master." That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I agree.
But yeah, it seems like I was looking at his IMDb page. It seems like he almost exclusively does Conjuring, Moon, Insidious, and Nun movies now. Like, he is making bank on that franchise. And Annabelle, he just goes wherever what's his name goes. James Wan goes. Like,
is he going to be in Night Swim?
I don't know. I don't think James Wan's directing it, but maybe.
Oh, I think he was involved, but not directing. They do that thing now to trick me. It's only to trick me, where they put the director's name in the like title card thing or whatever. So it's like, I think specifically that the guy was in it. So I hate that they trick specifically me with that.
No,
it's
yeah,
like
it
really
does.
shitty.
The Night Swim poster says, from James Wan, producer of The Nun, and Blumhouse, producer of Mithrigan, Night Swim.
Yeah.
Screenplay by Bruce McGuire and this guy. Screenplay by Bryce McGuire, directed by Bryce McGuire. But like, yeah, this is not a Bryce McGuire joint. They did not give him the amount of credit he may deserve. Although maybe in 10 years we'll be like, everybody will love Bryce McGuire because he's the
Really,
everyone will be talking about Bryce McGuire every day.
Yeah, hopefully he can reboot Aquaman and capture the magic that James Wan once had. But yeah, it's going to be good that they're making Night Swim. I spun the wheel again, landed on one of Diggins. Does the MCU exist? Talk about
here
that.
We go. Here's why all those lines are in there. Is because they wanted to make him Loki.
Yeah, just like in the second one where they break Loki out of jail and then do magic stuff in the second Thor movie.
And they literally call him Loki
beats.
at one point.
Well, that's what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So like, Aquaman calls him Loki, and I'm like, I mean, one could argue that it's supposed to be a Norse mythology reference, except Loki is nothing like this in Norse mythology. Like, this isn't his thing. Like, this is obviously a reference to the MCU and his sibling relationship with Thor in that. So, what's up? Those movies exist? Aquaman sat down and watched Iron Man? Is he referencing Iron Man deliberately at the end of the movie?
Hell yeah.
I think he is. Yeah. You know what? I think he is. And yeah, I think that makes sense.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but like, sure.
Makes sense.
Like, it may as well happen.
I mean,
and I think you have brought this up before. They talk about Superman and Aquaman in those movies.
Yeah, they've used the word. They've definitely done Superman and Batman. I believe both of those references are from Eternals. I'd be shocked if they got through the whole Black Panther 2 without saying Aquaman once. But now I'm like, maybe they didn't. The movie isn't as funny as you would need to. They weren't really going for the same vibe as Aquaman, say, is by referencing another movie series. But yeah, I mean, it's weird because like the MCU never really got into like Batman and Superman, but like when superheroes show up in those movies, nobody's like, "Oh, Thor, you're like Superman." They're just like, "This is Thor." And like some of these guys, you'd be like, "This is Aquaman." You'd be like, "No, he's Thor. He's doing Thor stuff. He's got a magic trident and he's got long hair and he's a cool guy." Like,
well, the problem though, the huge problem with this line is a general aphorism about movies that you guys may have heard, which is, you shouldn't remind me of the better version of your movie in your movie. Because then I'm just like, I wish I was watching a Thor movie right now.
Yeah. And that's a thought to have. Like, I wish I was watching a Thor movie right now. Look at how far we've come.
There's not a great hit rate on those movies. I think they're all better than this.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. And I think the thing with those is like there usually is some sort of like very memorable, fun thing about them, like Loki, that does make the second one watchable. even if it's not good.
That's the other thing is like the sibling dynamic between Thor and Loki is like the thing like when it's in them, because it's not in all of them.
Yeah.
But when it is in them, that's like the thing they always get right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also like this dynamic of like your Loki, it's like, okay, so his Loki thing was he wanted to take over the Earth and stuff. Like, I get that comes up very late in the game where not Necrus, the Carfax is like, I'll give you whatever you want. You could take over the Earth and whatever. But like, it's really weird that in this movie that climate change is a part of very like directly. That's not something that Orm's like, you see, I told you this is what was going to happen if we let them do their bullshit more. Because that is like the reason you would bring him back for this, is to have that kind of have Aquaman learn something from them.
Right.
Because yeah, it's stupid. The movie's stupid.
Yeah, we finally got there. This movie's stupid.
The movie is stupid.
Yeah.
And also, like, in terms of their roles in the first movie, like, Orm is Thor.
Yes. That's right. They switched them. Yeah.
Orm is the rightful king. Orm is the guy, is like the guy who was raised by his family, belongs there, quote unquote, like isn't secretly part of another world and was always meant to be the one who takes over. He's Thor. He's not Loki.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
He was just like, I'm cool. Thor's cool. I must be Thor.
He's even Aryan. Like,
yeah.
He's an Aryan Superman. He's Hitler's wet dream. Just like Thor.
Wet Hitler's wet dream, because of Aquaman stuff.
Or is he wet Hitler's dry dream? How does it work?
That's a great question.
Is it?
I'm surprised they didn't get into it in this. Well, Aquaman got his mouth peed on twice in this movie, so there was not a whole lot of lines they weren't ready to cross. They ate bugs. They had the baby peeing bit. There was another weird thing that happened in this movie that if you told someone, you'd be like, yeah, you're right. That did happen. What was it? Besides the Guinness,
what was that weird
really
thing?
Funny. I loved when he drank the Guinness and like it foams a little bit, and Aquaman like blows it off the top of it, gets it all over the couch. Yeah. Come on, buddy. You're a 30, 40-year-old man. Like, what is this? He's got this frat boy. It's fine. I spun the wheel again, landed on one of Diggins as we ran out of film. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Dad and all that stuff. Very, very important. Very serious part of the movie.
I mean, if we're talking generally about Tamora Morrison in this, I found that whole dynamic strange because he's like hanging out in his dad's house, like waking up in the middle of the night to like look after his son, whatever. And I'm like, you're the fucking king of Atlantis. You live there. Right? You live there and someone else does this for you. That's what being king means.
No, you see, because it means you're a cop. It means you're one single cop and you do cop stuff, basically.
Do you think, like, I mean, his kids were older at this point, but like, do you think like Malia had a bad dream at night and Obama was the one who went in and was like, here, let me read you a story and stay with you tonight? That's not how it fucking works.
I mean, but maybe though.
I mean, also, like, do we know at this point in the movie, Aquababy hasn't shown, like, like Aquaman powers. He can't do the fish summoning thing. That happens later. Or I guess that happens as the movie's starting. Can the kid breathe underwater?
Presumably. I mean,
yeah,
he's
probably
more Atlantean than Aquaman is.
Yeah, so why not raise him in Atlantis? Like...
That's a great question.
Why is he staying with his grandpa all the time?
Yeah, that's a great question.
If the kid can't swim, then I get it. Then it's like, well, the kid has to live up here, but I have to do stuff down there. But yeah, I would assume the way a normal Atlantean child is born, they just are in Atlantis from jump. And
yeah, they all do that like tub birth. It's all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very natural.
But like, yeah, like. Aquaman was raised there because he was a secret half-breed child that, like, the rest of Atlantis didn't know about. And, like, was also born out of wedlock with their queen. Like, there was many reasons why he had to be raised with his dad up in New England and wasn't part of Atlantis. But this is the Prince of Atlantis. This is the kid who will be their king one day. Like that, if I was the council, that'd be the thing I was going nuts about. I'd be like, "Hey, why isn't our fucking heir apparent here, learning about his culture?" You maniac!
And why is he with absolutely no bodyguards?
Yeah,
and
one guy.
and like when
One guy who's just a guy.
And not even like they didn't even call up like, I don't know, like Green Lantern, just be like, hey, can you come hang out? I know we haven't seen him in these movies yet, but I just assume he exists.
If only there was some other friend of his that could get somewhere very quickly to help, you know? If only.
Some guy that he maybe goes out drinking with occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah, this character's got to get it together. He's everything.
And we know Black Manta's out there, like out for, like, well, I mean, when they literally out for blood, they're like, oh no, but like out for revenge, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, before Black Manta ever finds the Black Trident, he's like, I'm gonna kill all of Aquaman's family, everyone he's ever loved, and I'm gonna burn his kingdom to the ground. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe you should have more protection for your baby than none at all.
well, Grandpa's not none at all, right?
Mhm.
Yes, he is. He's a fisherman. He's some guy. He's not like an Atlantean or a superhero.
Yeah, I mean, this is not peak Tamara Morrison. This is Book of Boba Fett gets beaten up in every scene. Tamara Morrison, like, they're not sending their brightest. They're sending the one that we're supposed to kind of understand isn't very good. Also, somehow, and forget about like all the other, you know, like it's bad that he's on water and stuff. Black Manta's able to sneak up on him.
Yeah, pretty
How?
good too. Pretty good.
He's humongous. He's so big. How do you open the door? There were all the kids' toys around. That was how Aquaman got found out. Did he avoid them? Can he fly? What's this character doing?
The Black
Like,
Trident gives you awareness of children's toys, so you're just
Apparently,
like, oh shit.
yeah.
But I think his big, dumb power suit helmet is so big, I don't think he would have fit in the door.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? He's like, fuck, sideways? Maybe I'll just like, take it off and carry it like in front of me, like
Yeah, why does he even have the helmet on at all? I don't know. I mean, he's above
the
ground.
laser
but
beams.
He doesn't need laser beams for Tamara
He needs
Morrison,
laser
though.
beams to beat up an old man.
Yeah. It's weird
It's
that
like he's beating up your dad. You listening to this, your dad has to fight a super-powered guy with a magic triton and laser beam eyes.
who's also like a huge jacked dude. Like in incredible shape, you know, one of these superhero guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Black Manta, without the suit, the trident, or the laser eyes, could beat up Tamara Morrison. I think he'd win pretty handily.
I'm pretty sure without the suit, helmet, laser eyes, he could pick Tamara Morrison up over his head and throw him. Like, I think people like that haven't seen this movie and kind of forgot about Yaya. He is in incredible shape.
Yo,
I mean, we saw him in that Watchmen
man.
show, and you know, he's just like.
The
He's
shirtless
one of
shots, holy shit, dude. Not to like turn him into man candy, but goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, like
Kill
he
for
could.
those abs.
It's so embarrassing how much, and this is some part of the problem with this fucking character is why I never take him seriously. And in the first movie we didn't because Aquaman didn't, but now in this movie they try to make him all scary, and it's like, A, he looks silly, but that's always been Black Manta's problem. But B, it's like, you know, the second it gets that trident taken away from him, Black Manta's going to throw him off another cliff or something, and that's what happens. It's like, it does feel like this movie just needed a different villain who was kind of more interesting and just had more going on. But
yeah,
they kind of teased Black Manta so much that they had to do it. But also, Aquaman has a pretty shallow bench of
it's
of
fair.
villains.
Who does he even have besides the Ocean Master and Black Manta?
It's a lot of these guys. It's a lot of guys like Necrus guys where it's like, oh, some ancient king or whatever. There's one guy that's called like the Fisherman who I like, who's like a, I forget when this was retconned, but he's like a Cthulhu monster thing that like kind of, I think, takes the shape of a guy or maybe is like a brain slug or whatever. But that thing's pretty cool. But yeah, the big three are Orm, Black Manta, and Necrus. So like right off the bat, we've burned all three of them in the first movie. It's kind of like how Black Panther, a similar movie to this, has Claw, Killmonger, and Man-Ape in that first movie. And it's like, well, who's going to be in the second one then? And they picked Aquaman, and that worked great. But yeah, so we ran out of film. Let's talk about that bit, the specific bit.
Yeah, to what this is actually about. Although, like you said, we kind of made it general Tamara Morrison talk.
Yeah.
So they figure out that Black Manta could use our baby to do the thing that we're talking about, because blood magic isn't magic, it's DNA.
It's DNA, baby.
And so they go back to Tamora Morrison's house in Maine, and it's like mostly burned down, and Tamora Morrison's been almost killed, and the baby's gone. But this right around here is where they got bored of making the movie, because I think it's supposed to be like artistic or something, except it feels like the director and the editor and all have heard of movies doing things like this and like tried to do it without looking up any examples. Where it's like things are kind of choppy, where like things happen, the sound sort of gets distorted, Aquaman like gets down and yells no, and then everything just cuts to black immediately. And then we cut back a few seconds later. But it feels like they just didn't get proper coverage, and they're trying to like cover that fact up.
I mean, I believe it. I would also believe the scene ends with something else that happens that they had to take out because it didn't work. I don't know what it is, but like a lot of the weird edits in this scene or in this movie, because there's a lot of them going from like scene to scene to scene, like back to Randall Park and then back to this guy. Does feel like it's like there was a scene between these, or this scene used to be longer and they just didn't do it. Like they forgot to finish it all up. So
yeah, that's when like Blorpus, the third main character who used to be here and hanging out with them all the time,
love Blorpus,
comes up and gives Aquaman a hug and is like, it's gonna be okay, Aquaman. And they just didn't have any shots that didn't have Blorpus in it from this point forward, so they just had to cut.
Yeah, it's a shame, but also like I think then what we can get is one of those stupid fan campaigns where they release the Blorpus cut, and then maybe that will be the good one, you know?
Please give me the Blorpus cut.
A lot of sex, a lot of blood in it. It's very cool. It's very edgy.
A lot of Blorpus.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves Blorpus.
I spun the wheel again, landed on one of Diggins' bring only my least loyal minions. So we're close to the end of the movie, right? I think that's what this was getting at.
Yeah. So throughout the movie, I think like 5 or 6 times by this point, Black Manta has been like talking to 1877 Cars for Kids, or just like looking or leaving his evil plots out, or otherwise just sort of sitting around being like, I love being evil and doing evil things.
Yeah.
And then Randall Park sort of like stood outside his open door and watched and was like, I'm concerned about this. You'd think eventually Black Manta would learn to close his goddamn door, but whatever. And he's like been like, I don't think I'm cool with everything that's happening, Black Manta, and I'd like to leave. Like, couldn't be clearer that Randall Park doesn't like any of this and thinks that he's going too far. And yet, every time he needs someone to do something, he's like, Randall Park, please come do this thing.
He's the best man for the job.
To the point of, at the end of the movie here, when he's going to release 1877 Cars for Kids from his ice prison, he's like, I need someone to hold this baby for me. You! And he points at the woman minion who's been super loyal and never questioned him this whole time. And is like, you, tell Randall Park to come with me.
Yeah.
I need someone to hold this baby I'm gonna murder.
So good. So damn good.
And it's like, why? Pick anyone else. It's not like you need his special scientist knowledge to hold a baby.
I mean,
why? Why him?
I get it. Sometimes you just gotta go with the right guy. I get it.
I think the bigger question about the Randall Park relationship that I've seen somebody else brought up, but I do think you have to bring it up, is who are these guys? Who works for him? Like, where did he find them? He doesn't have guys. He didn't have guys in the first movie. He was part of a group of pirates. They all died. And then he was alone on an island for a while. And somehow between now and then, he's assembled like a full fucking like navy and a bunch of loyal followers. Randall Park doesn't have them because he was just some weird scientist going on CNN every so often. So like, what are these guys even doing? Like, it really feels like there's a movie between these two that we just missed. Like,
well, it's all the guy now that Aquaman's part of the Justice League.
Oh,
all the guys that that have been beaten up by him and had their blood stain the rocks that they got thrown into, only in the Snyder cuts of their movies.
Mm.
And are like, God, I hate that Aquaman, have found Black Manta and been like, I will literally destroy this earth to get my revenge on Aquaman, just like you.
That's fair. It's such a weird thing, because I also think, like, I get why they want to have guys, but also when I saw the first trailer for this and we saw those weird submarine things with like tentacles and whatever, which I think look cool, and I like them in this, I was like, oh, his goons are robots. He's got a bunch of robot goons because he's kind of working by himself. But no, it's like things that are piloted by human beings because he has a whole army of them. Doesn't make any sense. But also, I did like his costume in this. I haven't brought that up, but I think it looks cool. Doesn't make any sense, but it looks cool.
It makes some awesome action figures, right?
Yeah, I bet. There's some good action figure potential in here. The non-Aquaman characters mostly, but
you're talking about Randall Park's character, right? You like his costume?
I like this costume. I mean, to be fair, this movie all takes place in Randall Park's head. This is why Randall Park doesn't get fired, is because he dies in that first scene when he falls 30 feet onto a piece of ice, and then he's in a coma the whole movie. So none of this actually happened. And
then an evil monster reaches up and eats his friend.
Yeah.
And then we cut away, and Black Manta just finds him, and Randall Park is fine?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
That's Monsters Want One guy, please.
At the very least, he's in the Arctic, and he's wearing no protection on his face. He would have hypothermia by now.
Oh, yeah.
As someone who has recently been to the Arctic, it gets very cold there.
I don't believe you. No, I don't think that's true.
Ice would form in my beard, just naturally.
That's horrible. I can't. Ugh.
Well, I mean, in a world where global warming's happening, unlike our own, but like a real one, where it's like happening a lot. Maybe it's super warm. Maybe it's like a 50-degree day. You know, he doesn't even need a light jacket. Maybe if he wants one, but
he's just squared away.
Yeah, Black Manta's weird in this. All right, spin the wheel again. One of Diggins's, I think. I don't remember whose this was actually. Death by Whale Scream.
That was mine.
Okay.
So this is the moment that Aquaman remembers he can talk to fish.
Yeah.
Because they've had the sonic weapon this whole time that disrupts their nervous system or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's ancient Atlantean technology or ancient Necrusan technology, whatever.
I think it's Wakandan. I'm pretty sure Wakanda invented this in the movie that they did this already. But yeah.
I think so.
Something
you're right.
to that effect.
And so, like, Aquaman's like, okay, but we can disrupt their frequency and defeat them if we have a bunch of whales sing at them with their kind of echolocation sort of shit that they do. It's not it's sort of echolocation. Depends on the whale.
Yeah.
Whales make big, loud noises underwater because they're big animals.
It's true.
And they're really smart, and they make poetry sometimes, right? And they have culture.
Yeah, they sing.
And they love singing.
They know how to love. It actually does have some kind of musicality to it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And I guess I don't really understand why this works. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, the answer is bullshit. That's why. Like, the answer is the waves just overload the the animation is crazy, right? Because it's like 500 whales. I don't know. It's a lot of whales. It might as well be 500. And they're like singing, shooting, sonar, whatever at the ship. And then I guess the generator for the sound machine just goes like fucking crazy. Like,
yeah.
That's what happens.
But you can also, like, you can see the like vibrations coming out of the whales' mouths, kind of. Like, it looks like they're Black Bolt screaming at the the ship.
Excuse me, use his full name?
Vlagagar Boltagon, Keeper of the Terragemis, King of the Humans. But yeah, and then everybody, and it's not just that the ship explodes, it's that everybody in the ship has to cover their ears. So I guess this is affecting the people too. I don't know.
Are they special Atlantean whales? Is that what's going on? I don't know.
I mean, they're just a bunch of whales that we see.
Yeah. I don't
honestly, the woman, the very loyal woman who he should have brought to hold the baby instead of Randall Park, has my reaction in this scene where this is all happening.
Yeah.
And they're about to blow up, and she's like, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, right. What the fuck am I looking at?
One other thing that I do like, as I haven't said a lot of things I like, I liked it when Mira almost killed Black Manta in that first scene when they meet, and she swims up to his little whatever we're calling these. What are we calling these? The big submarine tentacle guy things that he's piloting, and he's kind of got his like little kind of scowl on that he's had for the whole movie so far. And then she like punches it and it cracks pretty much completely in half and water starts coming in and just goes, "Oh shit," and then gets out of it. I like that.
That was
cool.
That was pretty good, actually. Yeah, you were right.
It's like, oh, she almost did it. She like was really close to ending the movie quite early. But how about the time when Orm almost betrayed King Nereus, but then he didn't? Wow, that's character growth, you guys.
The only time in the entire movie he does anything that even remotely seems like it might be not great.
But also, like, before he did it, he gave the evilest grin anyone has ever given to King Nereus, dangling for his life. Like, just very dramatic little Orm.
I'm not sure that that's true, because I feel like the grin that Aquaman gave right before he was like, "I'm gonna fuck your daughter."
That's true.
Oh God, that's just terrible. It's just so terrible. Ugh.
But
I mean, he was right. He did fuck his daughter.
That's true.
That he did.
Speaking of things that are terrible, we don't really have a wheel slice for this, but like, remember in the end when they just do tridents at each other and stuff? That's pretty bad, right? These movies
sucks.
How many times have people gone to find the magic trident in these? Like 3 in all the Aquaman movies? Because like the first one, it's 1. They do it in that. Mm-hmm. But then, well, I guess he has a trident in the beginning. That's the one that his mom gave him. That gets broken. Then he has to go find the gold one because that's the one that was. And even that one is like sitting in a fucking thing. Like the old dead king is holding it and he has to go get it. And then in this one, he has to do that, but the bad guy. This is so dumb. But
welcome to the party, Nando.
Do you think there was a scene where they fought this guy, this big skeleton man that got cut out because it wasn't very good or something?
Well, because the fight is exactly nothing.
Right? There has to be. I don't know how you would tell, but like...
Well, because they built him up as the main villain of the movie, and then he doesn't fucking do anything.
Well, it's like Orm was his proxy, or whatever. That's like kind of how
Orm doesn't do anything either.
No, I know. He learns to love, I guess. That was the real fight. The fight was for the fight of
But
love.
He knew how to love from the beginning of the movie.
Love again? I don't know. It's very bad. I'm not defending this movie. This movie's bad.
I do think if I'm Aquaman and I've got the trident... In fact, I've got both tridents, or I have at least access to both tridents, and I want to throw one at this guy to kill him. Use mine, not his. Seems like that would power him up or something.
But maybe then he would have caught his.
Yeah.
And then,
make you think.
Cooler if it's part of the plan. Like, how did you know? It's like, well, obviously, if he caught mine, but I used his, it wouldn't have worked. But mine is stronger, so I knew he'd catch that.
Hey, this is also not a wheel thing, because I forgot until now. But here's a question for you guys.
Okay.
What is the Black Trident?
It's like the One Ring, right? Like it's got him in it, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what it's like, but they're just like when Orm tells the backstory, he's like, Carthalax, Korg from Thor.
Oh, this guy made of rocks too.
Yeah, was a big evil man, and he decided to make himself into a big evil monster, and he did that by making a trident that was evil.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, this was my point about the tridents. There's other things besides tridents that you can have if you're a fish guy. I don't know why this has become their default weapon. It's so weird.
Well, going by Dungeons and Dragons rules, tridents are designed to be able to work underwater easily, as opposed to most other sorts of melee weapons that we make, which you can't really like use forcefully underwater in the same way.
That is true.
I didn't realize that. That's interesting. Is the trident part important, or is it just the big stick part? Because he used to have a quindent, and then that got destroyed.
I think it's mostly that it's a thrusting weapon, and not like a slashing or like bladed thing, really.
Oh, baby.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense then. I do want to ask, speaking of oh, baby, one more question. This is also not on the wheel. Did either of you guys think the baby was going to die?
No. There was no way DC's crossing that line.
That's what this comic arc is based on, is the time Aquaman's baby gets killed by Black Manta. Like, I didn't say this, 'cause I think we talked about this once before, and I said, like, it's based on a comic, but I can't tell you what it's called because it's the death of the Aqua Baby. I mean, it's not called the death of the Aqua Baby, but like that's what it is.
Aqua
and
Baby
like,
go bye-bye.
yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what. And I remember hearing rumors, and maybe this got reshot, that people were walking out of screenings of this movie like upset, and nobody said exactly why, but like that was like pre-screenings very long time ago. And some people were like, oh, it's because they kill a baby in this movie. People didn't like that. And I wonder if it did die at some point, and then they just like didn't do it.
So their solution instead was we'll put a baby in a microwave in a different movie, and then that'll kind of balance the scales.
If only he had a microwave, it could have saved the baby. In fact, but then he wouldn't. Yeah, because you know what? Actually, if he kills the baby in this scene, that also explains why he brought Randall Park, is because he didn't in the original draft. Because the baby didn't need to escape. He just needed to kill it.
I think that would have been a crazy choice to kill a baby as like a main plot.
I think they're cowards and they never would have gone through with it.
I would have respected it for just being such an insane move.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's like that's the only thing this character can do to actually kind of be a threat. He would have had to do it like the halfway point in the movie, but like, because I just never took this guy seriously, and I'm like, maybe he will kill the baby, and then it'll be like, wow, Aquaman really's got to do something about him.
If the baby did die, the baby would have came back somehow. Like there would have been some way for the baby to have come back.
I think I know how it would have happened.
Oh yeah, that's true. Where was she in this? This is the only one she wasn't in this year, I think. Well, no, I guess she wasn't in Blue Beetle either, but
oh man, she could have brought the baby back.
Yeah, that's true. That would have been so great if she was just filmed like 5 cameos. She could have come from in that submarine from the end of the last one of these too, in the Fast and Furious movie that she lives in a submarine now. That character cheats death like it's nobody's business. You cannot keep a good Gal Gadot character down. It's astounding.
A bad one.
Or a bad one, yeah. I've yet to see the good one. It's the good one, I guess, her character, Eli Stone or whatever from Heart of Stone. Remember that? More people watch that than Rebel Moon. It's not interesting. All right, so I spun the wheel again, and then on the last one. The last scene in the DCU ever.
Yes.
So what was it?
I rubbed my hands together vigorously. So this is
disgusting.
No more DCEU.
There are children who listen to this.
Space vagina portal. What else did we talk about already so far? A couple of things. So they're learning a lot this week.
DJ vigorously rubbing his hands together. That'll ruin them forever.
That crosses the line. Yeah.
Too far.
Yeah.
Now you've gone too far. All right, so this is it. There's no more DCEU after this movie. This is it. And our final post-credit scene that we get is Orm at like some kind of tavern, and he's eating his cheeseburger. He seems to like it, and he sees a little cockroach come by, and then he takes that cockroach, he puts it on the burger, he takes like a big bite into it, crunch, and that's fucking it.
Yep.
That's
what we get. That is our swan song. My goodness gracious.
I gotta say, this whole, like, this restaurant, wherever the hell he is, just has, like, big fucking Madagascar hissing cockroaches crawling around on its tables.
Yeah.
How are they not been shut down by like, the health inspectors?
Well, because they're yummy cockroaches. That you go there for the cockroaches. That's probably why he's there at all.
Right. Maybe it's some kind of metaphor for, I don't know.
Yeah.
Pick your thing you want to have it be a metaphor
for the thing that we just watched. You know, it's a thing, and there's cockroaches at it, and you'd be like, why didn't they shut that down a long time ago? And it's like, that's kind of what people like about it. Like, that's crazy.
And I mean, they almost had a point with this whole cockroach joke where Aquaman's like, yeah, it's the shrimp of the surface, and it's like, lobsters and shrimp and all that are kind of like water bugs that we eat, and it is kind of weird when you think about it. But that's not really what the joke is. The joke is just like, it's funny because he ate a big bug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I honestly think this joke would have been a lot funnier if it wasn't Aquaman tricking him, but Orm seeing a big bug and it's like, oh, like a shrimp. Nom, 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 nom. And Aquaman's like, what? No. And he's like, what's different about than this is like a shrimp or a lobster? And Aquaman's like, it just is. Fuck, I don't know.
Shut up, dude. You know.
Shut up. It's gross.
That would have been cool. Speaking of bugs, because he said this is the last scene in the DCEU, let's rank the 4 post-credit scenes that could have ended the DCEU from this year. We have Ted Kord is alive from Blue Beetle, where the computer tells us Ted Kord is going to be in these again, which he never will, obviously. You have The Flash. Aquaman and Barry get drunk. Aquaman falls in a puddle. You have Shazam. Next time we're going to do Mr. Mind. And you have this. He eats a bug. Which one's the worst?
The worst?
Yeah. Which one do you think is the best kind of like microcosm of the whole thing?
Best microcosm of the whole thing?
Yeah.
That's hard. That's really hard.
Because there's a lot of weird like subtext you could read into all of them as like making promises that you won't deliver on, making fun of the fact that you never deliver on any of your promises.
I think
falling in a puddle.
I think the Flash one is the worst because
I think the Flash one is the best encapsulation. Also,
yeah. Like, agreed. But like I think as the Flash, it's disgusting how self-aware it is, how it just like undercuts the entirety of like what is going on there. Like, he doesn't learn a single lesson at the end, and it's just like, I guess I'm in a new universe now, we're gonna fucking joke about this, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's bad.
Yeah, but it's also one of the main characters, one of the only characters in this universe that anybody likes. Stumbling around drunk, and then were he not Atlantean, drowning in a puddle.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's like, yeah, that's about how things have been going.
That's true. That's so true.
Remember,
it's tough. It's really tough.
Remember how Black Adam ended with Superman showing up and being like, I'll be in these now? That was pretty good, wasn't it?
That was so fun.
They'll never make something funnier than that. Remember when Shazam ends with the Peacemaker character showing up and being like, you're in Peacemaker now. And then now they're like, nah, that they never talked to us about this.
God.
That was so bad. Ugh. Yeah, no, this movie's weird. Any other thoughts about Aquaman 2? I mean, they're not going to make another one, and he's going to be Lobo. He just can't say it yet because they have to pretend this is a movie people want to see. But like,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine where they would go with this as the third one, but it does seem like it's going to bomb anyway, so I don't think we would get a third Aquaman.
Didn't it do like really, really bad?
It did really bad considering how well the first one did.
Really bad for one of these things. I mean, obviously, it made like 100 million or whatever, where it's like in any normally budgeted movie that would be a huge success. But this cost like $1,000 billion, so that's nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, it might as well have done what we could call what happened pulling on Marvels, because it took $1 billion franchise, took that much money, made a movie about it 5 years later or whatever, and nobody wanted to see it or whatever. It was marketed poorly, and it didn't do very well at all, because both of these came out within a year or two of each other, and they were both like kind of shockingly made $1 billion.
Marvels, the movie that came out like a month and a half ago,
Captain Marvel 1 and Aquaman 1 were both kind of like surprise hits that changed. Like, there was not a surprise hit, but this like, oh wow, this is big, everybody likes this, let's make another one, let's put even more money into it. And then they did, and they both didn't do very well.
Right.
And I think you could say a lot of things about why Captain Marvel wasn't popular and why this new one wasn't, but it does seem like a lot of it is kind of bolstered by the strength of the cinematic universe around it. It was able to generate interest, and like this movie is especially lacking any connection to any cinematic universe. Definitely didn't help people care about it, but honestly, I don't think that made that big of a difference.
It also doesn't help that both of those movies aren't good. If they were good, then people would watch them and be like, I like this, and I think other people should watch it.
It gave me joy to see these events transpire.
They would go home and they would be like, hello, my friends, you should go watch this movie. That was good.
I think we'll get into it. Like, I do think that there used to be bad movies, fine movies, and good movies. Good movies would make a lot of money. Fine movies would do okay. Bad movies would make no money. Sometimes they'd make lots of money, but like that was how it used to go. I think now there are just bad/fine movies and good movies. And like good movies make money, and fine movies and bad movies now don't. Because like I can see a world 5 years ago where a movie just like this comes out and does okay. But I just don't think we're there anymore. And I think there's a lot of reasons why that is, but
Is it that dreaded superhero fatigue? Ooh.
because I think this is what killed Indiana Jones too. Like, I think there's a lot of examples of this, of like the fucking, Migration movie bombed this week too, and like Illumination movies print money. But like,
That's true.
There's something, I don't know, there's something in the water where people just do not go to movies that are okay anymore. And
Did you say that there's something coming in the air tonight?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this movie, I feel like this is another one of these, kind of like Wonder Woman 84, when in a year someone will be like, Aquaman 2 came out like last year, and you'll be like, get the fuck out of here. No way.
Yeah, that's super fair.
And
while we're watching, what do we get next year from DC? Fucking
Joker Folie à Deux. That's the only one.
Yeah, the greatest movie ever made.
And then from Marvel, we just get Deadpool, Thrally à Deux, or whatever they're going to call it. Folie à Tray. They should call it that, actually. That would be very funny.
Well, I think you mean Folie à Toi.
Oh, Toi, right. Yeah. Well, you know what? They could call it Folie à Deux, because it does seem like it's like a Joker or a Deadpool Wolverine kind of like twofer. Like they're hanging out together. So, and they're both characters, Joker and Deadpool, who, they think things that are crazy are actually normal. They have sick, twisted minds, like director Matthew Vaughn. And like, you can't even believe what's coming out of their mouths.
It's true. It's true. It's all true.
Incredible.
Speaking of things, do you guys want to recommend some things to the fine people?
Yeah, classic segment.
That.
All right. DJ, you want to start?
Yeah, so I've had like so many things in my brain hole and things that I've done to recommend, but I'm just gonna go a thing I played yesterday because it's fresh on my mind. Oh, before that, I want to recommend going to a professional hockey game with your best pod bro friends.
Yeah.
Super fun to go to a hockey game with you guys.
Not your best friends. Let's be clear here.
Best pod bro friends.
Best pod friends.
So start a podcast. Start a podcast and become friends with those people.
And then go see a hockey game.
Find a hockey game. Yeah, make sure it's hockey season.
Yeah.
It was a good game. We had a good time.
We had a great time. I was almost...
It would have been better if they lost.
Yeah, I did. It was great because at one point where it's just like down in the dumps, and then because they were Devils down by 1, they tie it, and it's like, yeah, and the other team scored like 2 minutes later, and Diggins was like, this is the funniest timeline. Like, this is just...
And let's be clear here. It's not just that they were going to lose. It's that they were going to lose to what both you and my sports-loving mother had assured me was one of the worst teams in the entire league.
It's true. Yeah. So, even better. So, I recommend that. And then I'm going to recommend a board game, a very simple one. This one is called Spots. It's a very simple game. It's a dice rolling pressure luck game. You get a bunch of dogs, and they have spots on them, and you have to roll dice to fill the spots. So a dog will have anywhere from like 1 to 3, like red outline spots on it, and that's what you put in, either 1 to 6. And you have to avoid busting.
But busting makes me feel good.
God, I knew as I said it, I was gonna. All right.
You set me up, and you know.
I know. You have to avoid busting by making sure you keep state under a 7. It's like a very simple, I think, like just good, like if you ever got tired of Yahtzee because it's like too linear and you kind of like, oh, I'm like done with this. Like, this is a good
like
just
the Escapist did.
God damn it, Dickens. Where you wait, is he gone?
I mean, they have their new thing, the Second Wind. Like,
yeah, they all left the Escapists and started their own thing.
Oh, I'm
With
like learning
blackjack.
this, so it like threw me off.
yeah.
We talked about this on another podcast, but you were on, so no, you aren't.
I could see a world where you just saw those things in your feed if you've seen them since, and then just watched them and didn't even, didn't register because they look the same.
Yeah, who's to say? Well, anyway, yeah. If you want to play something that's not Yahtzee, but is still like dice rolling and placement and kind of managing that, trying to do it with a little more pressure luck, I think it's fun. So it's called Spots. It's like pretty cheap. Things like $20 comes like a little box. 1 to 4 players. Great party game. Would highly recommend. A lot of fun. So just gonna stick with that rec for now, and because I'll forget anything else. How about you, Diggins? What do you have to rec?
I've watched a few movies since our Wonka pod. One is a little movie called Poor Things.
Oh,
The latest movie by Yorgos Lanthimos.
is it about the people that watched Aquaman 2? Poor things.
You'd think, but
Yeah.
no. It's about Emma Stone is a sort of Frankenstein-esque. It's not quite Frankenstein, but to go more into it would be spoilers. But basically, she's kind of like a person that Willem Dafoe, as a mad scientist, made. And she's sort of like learning about the world. And she essentially decides to go off on a whirlwind sexual journey to sort of grow as a person and like, learn about the world that she does not know very much about. It's a great movie. I really liked it. It's very much about like female sexuality and like men's reaction to it in various contexts. But it's also a very like surreal, magical, realist kind of movie where it's like vaguely set in the 1800s, but it's like sort of a steampunkish 1800s, but also steampunk isn't quite right. It's just very it's very strange in a very like deliberate and interesting way, like visually speaking. I think it is probably the surrealist in visual style that movie that Yorgos Lanthimos has ever made. But I mean, Emma Stone is doing a great performance. Mark Ruffalo is good as a huge piece of shit.
Nice.
Willem Dafoe, of course, always a delight. And it's just a really fascinating movie that I had a great time with. I also saw The Boy and the Heron, Hayao Miyazaki's last movie he'll ever make.
Hell yeah.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I would recommend it. I think it's totally worth watching and like has a lot of good. For obviously visually beautiful. He and his team at Studio Ghibli, incredible animators. And also I watched the dub where you get to hear Robert Pattinson bringing eternal shame and dishonor upon Chris Pratt's house. Because it's like, oh, I guess an actor can do good voice acting.
Nice.
I was gonna say I didn't know Chris Pratt was in this. Now I'm in. Hello.
He's not, but Robert Pattinson is playing the Heron, and if I didn't tell you that before you saw it, you would never guess that because guess what? He's doing voice acting. He sounds like a different person.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I have some quibbles with it that I don't really want to get into because it would involve spoilers. But I think overall it is still a very good movie. And if you have a chance to see it in theaters, you should because it is, like I said, the animation is stunning. And I also saw the third Trolls movie, Trolls Band Together. It's not especially good by itself. I feel pretty much the same about it as I did about the second Trolls movie that we did a pod about. But I brought my niece to see it, who's 3, and she liked that it was colorful and there were songs and she was dancing in her seat. And you know what? That was really cute, and that meant I had a good time with it.
Nice.
And if you're a parent, my older sister, who is my niece's mother, came with us, and she said it was a lot more enjoyable than the Paw Patrol movie. So if you took your kid to the Paw Patrol movie, it was like, well, that sucked. The Trolls movie is better than that.
Wow.
We're probably like 2 years away from that being all of like my recommendations. Where it's like, guys, I saw the new Camp SpongeBob movie and it was something.
It's gonna be the new Trolls and the new Paw Patrol movies. I think they're just gonna keep making them forever. I don't think we're getting new things.
I mean, my sister did not start taking my niece to movies until she was 3. So 2 more years before that's.
This Bluey movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, that's everything I have to rec. What about you, Nando?
I really don't have very many interesting things. I've been like watching videos on the internet. I've been still watching New Zealand Taskmaster, which is almost as good. Excuse me. Sorry, let's talk about Aquaman again.
Because Aquaman is just draining the life force from Nando.
You're running out, Nando. You need new places to get your fix.
Mm-hmm.
Your Taskmaster fix.
Well, and that's the thing. They've been uploading them onto YouTube. Very funny thing. They uploaded the first season. They did it like one a day. they did episode 8 of season 1 today, and it starts and you're like, this is much shorter than a usual episode, and we're right into a task. We don't have that beginning part. Why don't they have that? And if you go into the comments, it's like, yeah, the prize task in that episode was bringing something that's aged really poorly, and a couple of them brought in Bill Cosby stuff, so they just edited it out of the YouTube version. They're not going to show it, so it's fine. I mean, like, I get it. They probably should have told them to bring that stuff in, but like, a Bill Cosby book about parenting aged pretty poorly. I do not disagree.
I mean, they were correct.
Yeah, should get all 5 points. But yeah, so that was kind of funny today, seeing that and being like, what? Where did it go? I hear season 2 is the better of the New Zealand Taskmaster season, so we'll see if that one's better. I've been watching a lot of Leo Vader videos. I watched his cereal mascot tier list, which I love. I just think he's like one of my favorite YouTubers, and I can like just watch his videos over and over again, and they still
even better than Nando V movies.
Much better than Nando V movies, better than Nando at the movies, better than any other YouTubers movies you can find.
Impossible.
Even better. So yeah, I'm watching a lot of those. I will say the only thing that I actually watched that I think like counts as a thing to watch this week, I've watched so far 8 out of 9 episodes. Watched the last one tonight of the new season of What If, the Marvel cartoon of like, what if this guy was actually here? I was not a humongous fan of the first season. I think the second season is much better. And like almost every episode is better than almost every episode of the first season. I think there's some that you're like, that's about as good as the best one of that season. But like in terms of like the plots, kind of the humor, the voice acting, I think is almost always better. And some of like the ideas are just fun to see. Like there's the one where Hela goes to do Shang-Chi basically. Like that's kind of interesting. There's the one with Justin Hammer, which obviously said was great. They have the new character that they just invented for this, which I don't know how this counts as a what if. It's just like, what if this other guy was here? That it was never really connected to anybody else, but they are in it, and that's fun. And they did their 1602 episode, which was pretty fun.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, you know, I do think like if you're not just super hot on Marvel, you're probably not going to enjoy it. But if you did like Marvel stuff and then watch season 1 and go like, I don't think this is for me, season 2 might be what you actually wanted. Especially the first episode, which is the Nebula neo-noir crime episode set on Xandar. I think is a good palate cleanser, or like a good sense for like, this is what this is going to be. So, you know, I think it's like, it's a pretty I think it's a pretty good like improvement. Honestly, like it's a good way to end the year for Marvel, which has had this super up and down year where like you're like, oh yeah, no, that was good. So, you know, that's fun. But you guys, what are we doing next week?
It's our year in review and predictions pod. Woohoo!
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
Like,
we're not doing Rebel Moon, so
we're not doing Rebel Moon until April or March or whatever, and we're not doing Percy Jackson until later. We are doing it though. Anybody? Oh, speaking of that, DJ, do you want to say the thing about the Survivor pool that we had decided the other day?
Yes. So okay, we couldn't figure out who was in first. If you are, I'm still alive. Who won? You know, like last chance to reach out to us. If we don't hear from you by, I don't know, let's say like, you know, January 3rd. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
Just whatever. Then we're gonna give it to the second place person who I think has identified themselves, and then they will win the prize.
And it was me. I'm the second place person.
And he picked Entourage, so it's pretty good.
No, I didn't. No, these are lies
on all counts. So second place person, I guess. Nando, you know who this person is? They've like reached out or identified.
I don't know it off the top of my head. I think the second place person has either been in the Discord or something. If I'm wrong about that, then we'll just keep going until one of you pretends to be that person. But like,
all right, I'll try and post something in Discord to make that official. But yeah, we're gonna someone has to win this.
I would say if we get down to about fourth place person, that's the point where we stop caring enough that one of you can just pretend.
Yeah. And that person gets to pick a movie that we do, unless we say no, then a different one. But like something.
We'll bargain with you.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll probably have more updates next pod about that.
DJ, do you have anything to plug?
No, actually, Little Roses and Rejections hiatus. We'll be back. I think January 10th is like our first pod back. Taking a little end of year break and just kind of decompress. So I think we'll be back with the like goddamn live Golden Bachelor wedding. So that's exciting.
What?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're getting married on TV. So more to come on that. Yeah.
I'm excited for this old man to shit himself on live on stream.
I'm excited for them to consummate live on screen.
Oh,
You know?
All right.
Yeah, they put a camera in the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Hope none of that happens.
Maybe live off screen, but I know what's happening.
Maybe
when they're not
he'll
both
shit
on
himself
screen.
while they're consummating the
Ooh,
marriage.
almost
Oh my
certainly.
god. Diggins, anything to plug?
Nope. What about you, Nando?
I don't remember when the last time I put a video out was. Like, I don't remember when we did this last time, but I had a video out that was. Oh yeah, so I guess the last time we did this, it had like I put that video out. But my one last scene video about Guardians 3 is out, so people can watch that. On Nebula right now is my 5 things to fix Marvel. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be, but it might be a what if season 2 was really good, and like kind of going through episode by episode, breaking them down.
Is that the last episode of What If?
Which one? Oh, what if season 2 is good?
2 is good.
Oh my god, maybe we're living in it. Yeah, that's very possible. But yeah, so that might be what we do. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, the next week it's a big yearly wrap up. So I've seen people in the Discord doing this, putting their own predictions down for things that they're going to have next year. So feel free to do that. We won't read them obviously because I don't want them to affect our predictions, which we have to make.
Yeah, we have to make our own predictions, and also you're less important and cool than we are.
But if one of you at the end of next year has some incredible prediction that you nailed, then we'll probably talk about that. But also you can edit Discord comments, so maybe we won't buy it. Anyway, I have been Nando Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Guys, it's been really cool doing this podcast. And also, we love you.
This is our last DCE podcast.